Muggy as shit. Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, man? So is this light better? Honestly, yes, that is way better. Ugh, Jesus Christ, it is muggy as fuck. Hopefully this helps cool me down, though. Sit up now, little beardish. Yes, yes. Let's get that going. It's a little early for it, though. You know, it's better to have it there now than pop it out later. Ooh. Let's get one loaded up here. All that good shit. That one. There we go. Jazzy, why are you licking the pillow? You weirdo. See that tire thing on Disco yet? I didn't actually. Wasn't on really Discord at all today, so I didn't see shit. I think I saw a notification of it. I just didn't actually like see anything about it. Oh, well, I see a link. There's a little something there. Wait, Baba Boo Boo? What? Some guy bought some property in Southeast and found a sea of tires. Oh, I saw a YouTube video on that. Well, I didn't like see the full video, but I did see like a snippet of it, and I was just like, I didn't really like look into it at all. I just like saw some of the pictures, and I was like, oh my god, this dude is literally just straight up full on, like, got like full on tire mountain basically. Doc's gonna be very busy weekend, I see. Oh, I'm sure. Definitely will be for me, because work and all that fun shit. Truly the same amount of tires. I mean, I guess I'll have to look into it and see, like, what's up with all the tires. Like, were they already there and he just never knew about it? Or were they dumped there after he bought the property or something? Because I wouldn't be surprised if deadass he didn't know about that. He bought the property, see pictures and other shit. Not realizing that it was literally just full of fucking tires. So it's been dumping there for a long time, it seems like. Probably. Or more like some buddies. Like a couple people have done it, and now people just assumed you could just dump tires there, and some people just would do that. Ends up being kind of like, the word around, being like, yo, if you can't like sell tires or whatever or recycle them, here's a spot to dump them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't really be surprised if it was some shit like that. Yeah, show Sunday, wrapped on Monday. Then game Tuesday, plus you gotta set up the ice crack at 7 a.m. Monday Wi-Fi. Oh yeah. Yeah, you do got a kind of a busy weekend, don't you? No joke, it's like thousands and thousands of tires. Really? No shit. Is that fucking many of them? You see me walk around with a guitar a lot now. Oh, you doing busking and shit? Well, I'm not really in downtown that much, so I probably won't as that frequently. I like how this guy only like had half of his comment post. What was the other half? What did YouTube even allow it? Or Jesus could toss you a copy of Greatland and Glare of Bernie Churches in '93. But they're like, what else were you trying to say, bro? YouTube didn't let it go through. It's too hot, man. It's too hot for YouTube. John Brown, when I'm gonna start doing it at the beaches to do it too. Oh, the waterfront. Nice. That would be a good spot to do it. It's a lot of tires, bro. Yeah, I only saw like a couple pictures, at least from like the front of it, but I was just like, God damn, bro. It generally looked like at least like a good few hundred just in the front, the fucking property itself. Are you still going to get an e-bike eventually? I think I found a pivot for myself. I found a little company that sells really epic regular bikes, so I can replace my rundown gravel bike. Nice. Yeah, I'm still gonna get one eventually. It's just not gonna necessarily be soon, but once I get enough saved up, I'm gonna, jump on one if I can. Preferably sooner than later. Hello for Phoebe's chat. Well, hello. See, she's doing some gaming and shit right now. I didn't expect it to be GTA Online as her first little gaming stream, but pretty cool. Smoke a bowl and put on some nipple tassies? No. And really? You piece of shit. Put it back on. I don't want the other light on. That thing actually like radiates heat. You oh my god, fuck it. You Germans are fucking weird, bro. And no, I'm not going to do that. The monetary loss is pretty brutal. Resale value for parts is ass. Oh, really? That just straight up, like, kind of just went full flop. Man, I was honestly trying to root for that. I was trying to root for it to be a dub. Are you sure it's like an absolute lot? Like, I mean, what really is the issue with it? Like, when it comes to what it's like accessible versus not accessible, whatever the fuck. 2 weeks ago with Smoke Bowl, just saying. I did earlier. I could do another one in a little bit. I sold some stuff, cutting losses. I feel you with that. Either way. Like I said, I was just rooting for me. Bet you don't have to. I just see anything sussle on any second. I mean, outside of the usual, no. Not today. I haven't really been like around 82nd that much today. Pretty much either been here or at my house for like a smidge, and that was it. So I guess I was, but not like hanging around. Was it not going? I mean, it could be better, but I'm just like muggy and just kind of out of it because I have like split days fucking off and shit, and it's just ugh. And it's just muggy in here. Cursive second. story fucking apartment living. Heat rises, so you deal with the heat. I found out there was an issue with either the battery or the motor. Oh damn, that's rough. Let's driving my barber at his new shop today. It's one of these things good as fuck too. That's cool. Hell yeah. I'm reluctant to say anything about these dogs right now because I know they'll immediately get activated. Not Jazzy though, but Vito would. At least have been pretty chill today though. Give him a little walk. Might do another one later tonight where it's not so fucking hot. A bunch of feedback locally from the recommendations. Did Vito lock himself in my room? He did. You know. Well, now it's all activated because it got locked in my room. He's like, I want out. He pulled a Zukov. Whoa, careful, buddy. What's up, bro? What? What's up, buddy? Oh, you big boy. What? You've been chilling all day, and now you're all like freaking the fuck out now. Come on, Vito. What's up, buddy? You crazy thing. You want a ball? You want to go find your toy. It's not in my room. It's gonna be in your cage. Go find something. Direct place for a gravel bike instead. Yeah, it's probably for the best for now. But I'm still. I know I still have the links that you sent me, Rip City, for at least like, for some of the stuff that you sent me. Though arguably I might do an e-scooter where I can at least have like a little, like a little storage thing I could put on the front of it or something like that, like a little basket or some shit. But at least for now, like, I'm thinking at least, as long as it's within the range that I think those were in, which is like what, 400 to like 600-ish. I'm honestly kind of surprised that they're not really as expensive as I thought they were. I mean, they can be, but for something a little, decent and cheap, just get quick little A to B. I mean, I ain't gonna say no to one that's like 400 or 500 or something. I mean, hypothetically, I could get one my next coming paycheck, but I'm at least gonna save up for at least like 2 or 3 of them first. That's why I at least, I'm spending money / rent and other things. Plus, I don't even know if 20-inch wheels would be decent or not. I only rode the bike once without power and it was ass. Well, yeah, without power, that's going to be massive ass. Like, I could see why that was like kind of a massive L because you were saying like the motor or the battery isn't really working or some shit. So you don't get one with pneumatic tires. Solid tires can't handle rain. So pretty much just make sure at least that they're pneumatic. Pretty simple. At least now he chilled out. All it took him was just telling him to go find his ball. Go find your ball. Go get your ball, boy. How do you feel about suing people that deserve Deserve it if you have like cases and good attorneys ready. I don't know. I never sued anyone before. I'm guessing if you kind of answered your own question, I guess, right? Now it's really about like, do you got the money for it? So I got attorneys on standby. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like it might have answered your question already. If you're asking like, if to go through with it, because I don't know. I'd say go through with it. Depends on details. Unless it's a company you're suing, it's often just pay out to lawyers. Yeah, not supposed to sue like that. It's SUE, by the way. I'm gonna keep seeing that and think so. So I was curious about non-Christian views. I mean, go for it. That's how I'd say it. Besides, like, I mean, the legal procedures in the judicial system, are there for shit like this. I mean, realistically, I mean, so yeah, if you already have shit ready to go, then yeah. I mean, at that point, I would just think that go for it, see where it goes. I mean, if it's to an individual, then I suppose it would be easier and arguably maybe cheaper. But if it's to a company, then you're gonna have a harder time for sure because they got a lot more money to drag it out, more so than you do. But also, they might settle and they might just give you money to be like, all right, just take this and shut up. Close my little brother. Yeah, I mean, I arguably kind of should have. I mean, I guess I'm still within the statute of limitations for it, but frankly, at this point, I just don't give a fuck anymore. My chapter's closed. I'm ready to just move on. It'd be funny if there was a religion that banned sewing for lawyers. I mean, like money lending, money handling was like kind of prohibited in in Christianity for a while. So I mean, that probably also extended to just like not working with money lenders slash lawyers and other shit too at the time. Well, the equivalent of what like a lawyer would be back then, which wasn't really one at all. the, just like it was just pretty much like just the virtue of like the mass populace or the king himself or the church. If I donate to some sort of church, I want them to know it's from a lawsuit. I don't think they would give a fuck. And who cares? Like, I mean, they're tax exempt anyway. I mean, like like that type of stuff. Normally, unfortunately, in a lot of churches, is kind of a scam anyway. So it's just not one of those things where I would personally do. But I mean, like it's not going to matter, and especially like if I mean, I've seen documentaries, about especially a lot of these bigger churches that you'll get these pastors and other people like behind the scenes, and they're all like, "Look at all this money! Oh yeah, oh Lord is good now, ain't it? Look at all these fives, got some twenties in here, and ooh, look at this check from." That sweet little grandma, like Aunt Maria, whatever you called her, this fucking 1 grand, like they fucking brag about it. They're like, oh shit, it's gonna be good for our church in our pocket. It's all tax exempt. They don't care. I'm not a huge fan of the big ones. Well, I mean, some of these, sometimes the bigger ones will go to smaller ones too every once in a blue moon. I mean, some of these documentaries, like I remember there was one about these Pentecostals, and one of them who was an atheist, just basically was pretending to be one, just going around to these different churches and shit. That was a part of a bigger, branch of like, of a Pentecostal church that was in the area because his father was also a preacher as well. but he didn't believe in any of it really. Like I said, he was an atheist. So from there, like he basically would just because being raised in it, and even as a child partook in these sermons as well, knew how to play the crowd. So, at the end, these even like churches that would have like, 50 people, and he expected to not be a lot, they would like pull out like five times, sometimes more than normal of what that church would normally put out because of like how moving it was, basically. I mean, like it's kind of a racket, in a way. And a lot of those local, smaller churches too, every once in a blue moon, especially if they're very aligned like that, they're going to be like, please come back again. My coffer's never been so big. Oh my God, I'm definitely not in the mood for this. I got Order 66 on the mind. In fact, we'll just do this. Bug it. You'll get 1 minute. Out of the eight. Beetle. What? Who? Huang? Probably wants to learn trumpet. I've always loved that sound. It's a lot more harder than you think. A lot more harder than you think. I grew up, literally, because it was required for like sixth grade at the time of like the Bach program or whatever it was called. Like, basically being like, looking at the trumpet, being like, that looks easy. There's three buttons on it. I literally was like, that can't be hard. There's three buttons on the thing. Nope. It's like it. Half the instrument of the trumpet arguably is like for your diaphragm and for your lips, specifically like your lips. Like you have to actually like have like your cheek muscle, jaw, and like lip muscles and your diaphragm being like a major part of how you play it, and including your tongue too. Because also when it comes to accents, like you need the tongue to order to kind of make certain like accentations, especially if you have like staccato where it's like because you need a little extra like that versus like, because there will be just a regular split between where it's like duh, 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 but then you want to actually have like extra accentation where you have to train your tongue as well to go, duh, 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 shit like that, where you have to add a little emphasis more so. Like it's a whole like your body is a part of the instrument itself, where that you need to train more than actually learning how to play it itself. Because the slides are there to pretty much like help tune the instrument to your body, when you're playing it, and then the valves are there just switching up, where those slides and where the air is moving through, where it changes the note. And at that, it's just basically about tuning your instrument to it. It's a very difficult instrument, honestly, if you think about it. Try saxophone, bro. A saxophone, saxophone. I wouldn't mind trying it. I've tried it once and it wasn't too bad, but I had like a really awful squeak at one point. And I was like, okay, well, nope. And the person I was playing with, he just kind of went, ugh, okay, it's a practice, but all right, not bad. So you picked an instrument that had more buttons and oboe. That's what my mom grew up playing, that and clarinet. My dad was violinist, and I think playing what else? He also had another instrument that he played. I forgot exactly what it was. I mean, while they fell out of playing music, I haven't. I've kept playing it and expanded more so than trumpet. I actually am trying to get back into playing it now because I got it over here. I just need to get some slide grease, valve oil, and get it a real deep clean treatment in the tub. Get it all polished up, cleaned up, and get her at least playing and good again. I regret stopping and sexy again now. Well, trumpets can be too. I mean, to be fair, like violins, trumpets, saxophones, even flutes sometimes. If you especially got someone who really knows how to rock out a flute out of nowhere, like I mean, I mean, especially if it's like an instrument that no one usually like sees, that's like on the street, they or like maybe even a more like kind of rare ass instrument like a fucking like a horse head fiddle or something like that, and they just walking that shit. That's like an extra like aura move right there. We're like, whoa, holy shit. And I honestly definitely want to get a horse head fiddle because it's basically just a two stringed like violin slash like kind of guitar, kind of thing. But it is a really amazing cool ass instrument, and I love its fucking sound. And I really want to get one just so I could play around with it, and also now have a bow so then I can play around with that too with other instruments like a guitar. Because playing a bow on a guitar is actually kind of, if you know how to do it right, it can sound pretty cool. Oh yeah, what's up, Auntie? I want to move back up because I know I missed a couple comments. Finally tried a beer hug. Nice. How was it? Would you give half your money to support your deadbeat neighbor? Well, luckily my neighbors aren't deadbeats. They do like beats and shit. Actually, like they perform at like DJs and shit, or at least one of them does. His other friend is, I don't know what he does exactly, but I know he does some different shit and all that. Usually helps him with a lot of stuff, so I think he does like kind of part time like roadie, kind of shit, helping his friend out. It's pretty good, similar to a voodoo. That's what I think. It's just got a little slightly extra kick to it because the strings are flat, not curved like a violin. Yeah, but at the same time, there have been players and guitarists that have played with a violin bow on a guitar. It's not impossible. You can do it. Type of denomination of Asian are you? Do my friend? Do I look goddamn Asian? What the fuck is this comment? Did you walk your pet fish tomorrow? Because if you're doing it, I might have to walk him. Yesterday and last time I had to light the fridge on fire upside down. What the fuck? Huh? The bar I went to tonight had pull tabs. Watched an old guy rip open a bunch. Pull tabs are classic. And I have yet to see one before. That's pretty cool. No wrong innovation, bro. Just being technical. Sorry. Nah, you're good. You're good. Though, if it being in all caps, I kind of read that as like, hey, yo, nothing wrong with that innovation, bro. I'm just saying, technicalities and all, my man. But nah, like, I mean, I mean, just because like it wasn't inherently designed for it doesn't mean you can't necessarily do it. But also, it doesn't necessarily mean they want to like be pulled off unless you really know what you're doing. But I know there's been different artists before and guitar and rock stars and like bands. I haven't. Oh, oh Jesus! Sneeze attack. Fucking whoa! That literally came out of nowhere. Blah. But I've seen like not me personally, but I've seen different bands like with videos and shit. I think even Led Zeppelin's done this once, where like they would take a bowstring or not bowstring, but like a bow for like a fiddle instrument, and then actually like play the guitar with it a little bit, or even I think a bass too. And I know there's been like people on YouTube that have done the same thing, and it can have a really cool sound to it. It's just tricky because you kind of it's kind of hard to play like the other strings, if like when doing it, especially like in the center. But it's kind of the same premise. It's just like, if you were strumming it and shit, like you're muting other strings in order to do it, but it's just more difficult because it's still going to kind of make a sound. Like you're not going to be able to kind of escape that, but you can still at least make it, sound cool. Only pull tabs I drink are Donald Duck orange juice. Is that even a thing? What? Eats your favorites too. I have a genuine reason for it. Thanks for being considerate. I don't know what the genuine reason is for it, but I will admit, normally I have a rule against it, but I mean, if you could help it, maybe it'd be preferable not to, but I mean, you're not at least like going full spam mode or being an asshole or anything, so whatever. It just like reads like someone's like, yo, bro, blah, blah, blah. It's either that or like, I am yelling a lot, kind of thing. It's like one or the other. It's either like this, like kind of like bogging you a bit, or it's just like you're yelling. Heil George Washington? I didn't realize it was 1783. Huh? What? I just heard the Bears leaving. Okay. George Washington was a little bitch. I mean, I wouldn't know if he's like, nah. I mean, he was the first one to have like a full-on inaugurational speech in a pink suit, and so far the only president to have that. He actually did have a pink suit, so I haven't seen a president do that since Washington. None of these presidents got the balls. Nah, it's got to be like black or like some navy blue or God forbid, like Obama have a tan one or some shit. Like, pfft. Nah, I want to see a motherfucker rock a pink one, dude. He'll Sigma with the drip. I mean, yeah. Well, he was a general too. Like, I mean, generals, especially back in the day, knew drip. Like generals and shit, especially the Admiralty and stuff. Like those motherfuckers knew what drip was, bro. Like, I mean, you can't deny that. And yeah, Washington had a little bit of drip. I wouldn't say he was like the drippiest of all, but I'd say like good solid C to B tier. Definitely, at least with the pink suit specifically, that's an S tier. Specifically the pink suit. English pens, yeah. Hey, at least he fucking fought against those asses. I suppose I'll be it reluctantly. At least it didn't fuck around though when people were like, "What taxes? Boo!" He was like, "All right, bitches, nah, we ain't King George here. We're actually building something. Fuck you." He didn't fuck around. I will admit that. Like, so, at least it isn't like that Assassin's Creed alternative reality where he was a king who also had like crazy suit powers or whatever the fuck. That was actually unironically a genuine possible alternate reality, which luckily he was really adamantly against. He just didn't like the idea and the concept, even though there were people overtly being like, "No, you should." It's like, luckily, it was like, nah. Well, that's how he got his start. He wasn't like he was part of the British military. That's how he had to start. Like steal slaves' teeth. Yeah, like he made his dentures out of like out of his like teeth of his slaves. When like they would fall out, he would like keep them just so he can like make dentures out of them. And also the idea that he like freed his slaves or his wife did after he passed away or retired or whatever is bullshit too. There's such a weird, stupid, sanitized look about these men, honestly, from back in the day as founding fathers. But I mean, albeit there is still truth to some of it, but like it's so whitewashed, kind of literally. Where if you really look into these dudes, they were not even remotely close, dude. Definitely wasn't waiting until he fell out. Well, yeah. Sometimes they just kind of did. Hey, we need to see you. Can you come in here real quick? Comes out suddenly, just missed a tooth. What happened, bro? Uh, it was bad. They had to pull out. It was dead. Not really. Yeah, I know what was going on with that shit. Dude, white people were fucking freaks, bro. Well, we still are, but back then we were exceptionally fucking freaky, dog. People like to think there was like some sort of like, exceptional morality and this and that, whatever. It's like, bitch, even like some of the more quote unquote rugged motherfuckers today would not survive that shit. Even culturally. Even if they think that they're more closely like aligned towards those broader, beliefs, like, nope, you wouldn't last a second. Like, just straight up, bro. Like, I mean, because like these dudes just like had like they would unleash their weird sadistic and sadist and like fantasy bullshit, as a justification, like, oh well, these black folk, they're just inherently inferior to us. We're obviously the perfect race of humanity and under the light of God, blah blah blah. So it's like, of course we could just use their property and use their bodies as like what the fuck is necessary. Oh, I need that tooth actually, for my dentures. Yoink. They didn't give a fuck. They were freaky like that. They were just way more so than today. I mean, honestly, if we, had a side where they can unleash that shit, I think we kind of would. And we still do. We have. That's why they got the Epstein class. It's also a Freemason cook. There's also a local chapter of them in Milwaukee that is just like, damn, oof. I actually researched them a little bit, at least when it came to that particular chapter, and at least that one seems to be a little like, yeah, we're just trying to like look after dudes and people and blah blah blah, bro. I'm like, okay, interesting. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. You have United States of America wasn't for him. Not really, and you're not exactly totally correct on that. You realize there was like multitude of different founding fathers outside of George Washington, the main ones people know about, right? These bum on YouTube. What, yourself? Because you're just like wasting your time perusing around on random people's live chats. So, yeah, go touch grass or something. Adults are having conversation there, kid. But yeah, at least when it comes to like, a lot of different founding fathers, there was like Thomas Paine. There was even like a fucking like a singular Catholic priest that signed on to it. I think there was also like one Muslim man that signed on to it as well because there was like a small community of Muslims, or at least Muslims, or like it's spelled differently, back then, but it was like Muslim, or back then, but they had at least a couple too because there's small niche communities of them as well that also were seeking to get away from the British, from their respective places. So it's just like I think there's at least like one of them, and there was like plenty of different, at least overt agnostics and others, including various different like people from military, from different like judicial elements, like and religious elements too. Like it was signed by all sorts of different people that all had at least broad common goal of like basically fuck the Brits, let's start our own thing, as in fight the British. Well, so did plenty of these men too, whether philosophically, ideologically, literally, on the battlefield, or at least, for money. Because a lot of them also had a lot of, coffers too. so they can go travel to places like France, like Ben Franklin, who laid with the princess at the time. He was a ladies' man. Every bitch at the time was wanting to fuck him. Like, I mean, he knew how to like woo, some women, especially of higher power, to be able to, get a few guns, munitions, and some good deals, as well. Like, there was a lot of things that men, that those founding fathers did, and plenty of others that weren't, that did some shit that didn't necessarily have to go outright overt fight. In fact, it took a while for like real true combat to kind of go on because of like the length of messaging for the king to finally realize, like, oh yeah, this is going on. Your colonies are revolting. Oh well, we need to send some people over there. That's what. Like it took a long time for things to really like pop off. That's why, like, even though Independence Day is '76, like that war, of independence lasted for a couple of years and for a kind of while. Like America's like initial founding, even with the Constitution, that's not how it initially started. Like there was the Articles of Confederation from before, prior to that, which was an immense fucking disaster. Hence why they eventually signed on and had a mutual agreement of like we're fixing this because we at least do need to have like some federal level of like authority here because these Articles of Confederation is not working. And it just wasn't like every little state and everything having their own little currency and like they were trying to basically be like an EU now without like the like establishment of like a federal oversight. Basically it was kind of, if you think about it, it was like literally let's like have no federal oversight but basically kind of have like a face value of what that looks like and just let states be like their own little countries. Like that's not going to work. And it didn't. It barely lasted like what, 8 years, if that. That's why they had to like start from scratch and kind of rewrite the whole damn thing. And that's when George Washington was officially the first president, but there was other people that were running and were the head of the country before him. I forgot who they were, to be honest. But I think there was at least two, maybe three different, previous leaders of the United States before Washington. Let's forget what their names were. I'm not about that dog is just sleeping on my coat. Goofy boy. To nobody. And then for a snowstorm, then he died of pneumonia. Oh, who was that? He didn't like die immediately, but his presidency was literally like 30 days because he died of pneumonia. Who fucking was that? There's even like presidents that were around for a while that didn't really do shit or just sucked. That even I still remember, like Buchanan before the Civil War. He literally was just like Joe Biden before Joe Biden was a thing. That guy was just basically Sleepy Joe before Sleepy Joe was a thing. Fucking Polk, he sucked. Fucking you got Hoover, you got fucking Garfield though, like or no, Grover Cleveland, I think it was, right? What was his name? Who's the big fuck they had to make a custom tub out of him because he was just that big of a boy? He was like the biggest boy kind of thing. I think that was Cleveland. It might have been Garfield, one of the two. Was Garfield the one with the fucking with the beard? And then he ran, lost after second, yeah, first term. Then he won after in between the term. Yeah, I think it was. Please don't cry because it's a nice day. Well, it's nighttime for me. It's me, John. Mr. John, Super John. Thanks. Well, cool. Would you be willing to eat a pickle on a live stream while I watch and give you instructions on how to do it? I mean, I like pickles, but I'm not gonna do it in the way you want. I'm just gonna eat a pickle because I like pickles. I don't trust how it's the way you like worded all that. No, I mean that last half you lost me because now I feel like there's some sinister shit with that, or like some weird sexual shit you're gonna make me do with that, and I'm like, no, fam, I'm just gonna eat a pickle just to eat it because I like pickles and they're good, especially Clausen pickles. I think they like stopped doing like whole pickles though, because I haven't seen like Clausen pickles where they're like just straight up a pickle, and it kind of low key upsets me. It's like, man, pickle gliding, my man. Do I want to know pickle gliding? Hmm. Are you from Chicago? No, but I've been there. Hence the hat. It's an awesome fucking city. Life was sour. Why don't you, bitch? It's like pickle eating, but no chowing. You just eat a whole pickle whole. Yeah, no. One of our prime ministers disappeared off the face of the earth while swimming at the beach. Oh yeah, Harold. Dude, dude, that guy honestly was kind of a quirk, and I kind of love you guys, for that Australia. I know he's the Australian Prime Minister for sure. He literally was just like, I think he was like driving or at least being driven to go like, for a meeting or some shit or whatever the fuck. I know it was something like that. And he like demanded they pulled over for, a little bit of a break. And he just like, all right, I'm just going for a swim, boys. And thing is, he was swimming out there for a minute, just doing their thing while, his little entourage were kind of like, all right, come on, can you like get the fuck back here? So we kind of keep doing our thing. And eventually, like, he was like, all right, hold on, lads, I'm gonna go for a dive. And he just literally disappeared since. And no one knows what happened to him outside that obviously he just drowned and probably got eaten by something. Or at least drowned and then the ocean, just taketh away. It looked like a man if a woman had a child. I'm pretty sure that's how humans are procreated normally. I mean, yeah, usually that's kind of what. Yeah, you kind of need a mom and pop, kind of thing for that. Usually, I don't like your attitude, Bucko. Well, it was just confusing. It was confusing, my G. Like, was it like an insult or just a overt, obvious observation that I think we all don't need to make because it's kind of a duh. You can't ground me, bro. You ain't my mom. Even then, I'm more likely to go ground her from her phone and shit because I swear to God, like every time I see her, she's always got like some more virus or some other bullshit where I have to fix her phone. So, like, yeah, no, if anything, I'm grounding my mama. I'm the adult in the family, bitch. You know what? Because I'm the adult in the family, you're grounded actually. You're going to have to take 1 minute to reflect on your life. You didn't like my attitude? Well, I don't like yours. How about them apples, huh? How about them apples? Sorry, if you don't come back and end up being a good sport about this, I am going to be a little disappointed. I know, we'll see what happens. And make sure that your face is facing the corner. I don't want to see you moving your head and looking around or nothing. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Buy a potato and eat that potato. I'm growing potatoes. I mean, I'm just gonna wait for them to be ready to harvest. J6WM Portugal. Thanks, XRIP. Is that a radio station? Glendale Quagglechuck. Is that like a weird alternate Quagmire that I'm seeing right there? Chiggity, chiggity, giggity goo. What the fuck? What is that? What? It didn't happen like that. You lived close and drove there for uh, an after lunch swim. Probably got a cramp. Well, especially knowing that it's the ocean, it do kind of taketh and giveth away, right? The ocean's a fierce bitch, and also it's the Australian like shores of the ocean. I'm pretty sure them, waves are a little bit more sinister than all over here. What time I consume potatoes while they're fermented in spicy water? Fermented in spicy water? What's up your face? What's up with your face? Vodka. Nice. Good. I was kind of wanting to make sure. I mean, spice water, that could literally mean anything. But I had to double check and it'd be like, okay, it's vodka, right? Like, let's be real here. But no, I like potatoes more than just that. Like, if you get like, like freshly made, creamy style like mashed potato, like, because there's a way to do it. And oh my god, it's actually fucking fire, especially when you get some proper garlic butter mixed in and everything. I mean, ooh, no, it's Everclear. I mean, that is another variation. Vodka ain't the only potato-based liquor that exists out there. Why isn't there a French fry flavored vodka? That sounds disgusting. That's why. That just sounds immediately like vodka, but salty and with like the hint of fryer oil. Like, gross, bro. Ew. That's why it don't exist. Now, if you mix it with ketchup, that's even more repulsive. Oh my god. Oh, oh god. I'm immediately just like grossed out by that, bro. That's why that's never been made before. I saw bacon flavored vodka. Okay, that's just why. I'm not gonna lie, weirdly that might be kind of good, but that also just sounds kind of disgusting at the same time. Just why? Like, when it comes to a certain point, like, why? Let's just keep it simple with flavors. Like, I don't mind like fucking mixing it up with some cool shit like like a tropical citrus mix or some shit. You know what I mean? Like with a vodka or whatever. Like, actually, that would be pretty dope. But I mean, like what bacon and all this shit. Like, nah, come on now. Poser shirt. I don't give a fuck. There's someone stuck them in a victim mindset. That's such a random question for like in such a transition to what my brain's on right now. Uh, I don't know. Be humble. Don't have a fucking ego. And maybe reflect if you actually are truly a victim or not. Like, especially when it comes to maybe your actions towards others, kind of thing, you know what I mean? I don't know, just TLDR to his root, humility, bacon flavored ranch. Well, I don't like ranch, honestly. So, I mean, I might like it a little more if it was bacon flavored and then it was like kind of mixed in some other shit. I mean, I might actually like that, but I just don't like the ranch in general. So, like, if it was flavored, like, a bacon flavored or like, some other shit, as long as it's not like the main sauce in there, like, I will say that, it is preferable. Look square in the house. You know what's funny? When I was in Chicago last year visiting, we did go to Logan Square while they were doing some construction around. I have a rock that I picked up that are written on it with Logan Square, from the date that I picked it up from. It's at my house right now. I need to fucking get it picked up, back over here because honestly, I don't know why I just decided to move it there, but I'm definitely gonna like bring it back here for sure though, because it's beautiful and amazing memento. I don't recognize it anymore. Well, I mean, I guess I picked up an old piece of Logan Square before it got gentrified entirely. So there is that. One of these days, I'll have to, make sure it gets brought back over here. Then I can, show it off a little bit. I know my friend Logan, who's my roommate. He has his rock that he picked up from the Chicago River. So that's, I think, in his room. I just know that the one I got is just like in a box with other shit that I got, and I just need to get to my files and like get all that shit. But the problem is, I need to actually have like a way to get all that fucking shit, over here. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of it is just like I can't just pick up and take Triman or the bus back over here. Like I need like a ride to basically like haul everything. Which my friend Lauren would be the guy. And actually want to hit him up, be like, yo, bro, like most of the shit at this point, I need like a ride to just haul all this. Like, we need to just have like a fucking day we're just doing this, bro. Because I want my shit out of there, my old house. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a reason to really go there outside of just get all my shit out of there and just dip it. Is that an app to make your head bigger? No, I'm just making mine, bro. I just got a big ass head. Put a basement, help someone else and help victims. Well, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I got you. Do you? Do you though? Libby drunk. What, you trying to call me a lib? And also, I'm not getting drunk off of one of these fucking things, bro. It's gonna take more than that. Oh, just let me know when he's charged. Let's charge on this bitch. All right, nice charge. We'll get that little bad boy charged up now. What? Get out of those. There we go. It's just filled with hundreds of tires. Oh my god. I swear to God, if it. Fuck you, Hinky. Yeah, it's just literally piled up with like a million tires. Hello. Uh, you are being charged, you bitch. Quit beeping. Ho. Hello, how are you? I'm very angry right now. I'm doing all right. Could be better, but about 70% there. I like how this one guy just popped in, just be like, "You're a lib," and just didn't even bother responding to anything now at this point. Oh, he don't want to scrap up. He don't want to squabble up or nothing. Shame. That's the one down. Your husband don't want to lick your candy? Probably not in the mood. Why does it look like night for you? It's daytime for me right now. I feel like you should know the answer to that question. Come on. You should know. Time zone differences? Stop looking at me like that. But it's kind of the look of like, really? I always look at his ice cream and he doesn't want to return the favor. There you go. Yeah, Inky, showed it off. Yeah, the Earth is a beautiful globe. It is a globe, and people are all over that globe. I just happen to be in one part of the entire globe, and you are in a different part of that globe where the sun is now showing its face. Surely because it's selfish. You should probably just talk to him about it. Try talking about it. Be like, hey, like, why don't you, like, yeah, I feel like you're not returning the favor as much, and I don't feel like this is as mutual. Blah, 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 blah. Ever hear about that one person's high and someone's attic, and then the person would leave or sleeping, they would sink down, eat their food, and use their stuff? Yeah, I mean, I've heard of that before. That's happened a few different times, actually. There's different stories like that. Frogging, I think it's called. Yeah, it's something like that. If a deaf person gives you a hand job, is it technically oral? I see what you're doing, but honestly, like, yeah, no, just on the virtue that it's like, well, I mean, it's still a hand job. The question is, though, if they're giving you oral, is it like an American sexual sign language? Is it ASSL? Hope you're okay. Go home and get some sleep. I am home. My bed is literally on the other side of like the bathroom over here, bro. Like, what? I'm already home, dude. I'm definitely fine, okay? I'm totally okay. You don't need to be a concerned trolling, my friend. I'm all right. What's that? I ain't sharing you that. I literally only use that shit for fucking work. So I'm not sharing that. No. And even then, our work doesn't even fucking use it, so I don't even know what's the point. Oakland, California, E to the Bay. Hey, West Coast, best coast, ultimately. I will say, I haven't been to the Bay outside of San Jose's airport, and its airport sucked ass, so I don't have a positive opinion of San Jose's airport. But I do want to at least hit the Bay up one day. In true fashion, not just fucking endlessly delayed for a transfer flight to get back fucking home from Texas, for San Jose's bunk ass airport. It was supposed to be a 4 hour like layover slash like wait. It ended up being like 6. It wasn't until like 9 when we finally left, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is ass." Do something funny. I'll do that if I want to. She's letting me help. Do something funny. Oh my god. You're not like, the center of the universe, my friend. One little something funny, be in the corner for 5 minutes like Inky put you in timeout. So that's kind of funny. Great realization in her because you have those. Wow. um, there's better words to use, I think, for that. But that's probably because I'm also stoned right now. That would probably do that. But I'm a Northern European mutt through and through. I don't got any of that any Asian genetics in me, my guy. Like, ugh. Soup. It's better than a brick because we can't soup. It's just soup for my family. Philadelphia has the worst airport. I haven't been to Philly, so I want to know. I'd like to go to Philly though, so maybe I'll have an experience with it. But never been though. Do you think the UK needs to pay the countries that colonized or lived for centuries as reimbursement? Yeah, I mean, to a degree. Like their fucking like National British Museum, like 90% of it can like go back to their native countries and shit. Like, yeah, like there is like some shit where it's like, yeah, the British should just return it. At least, maybe for like a 30-year plan, like do a basic reparational thing that helps, to an extent stimulate, the country to a degree. At least, the smaller countries and shit, right? Or at least within the Commonwealth or whatever, I think that should be at least to some extent. I don't think there should literally be like, no, like half of your fucking British budget's going to that. Like, but there should at least be like some basic little, thing, including, yeah, just return a lot of your fucking shit. That's like, oh, look at these cool little, African trinkets or some shit. It's like, yeah, no, like, just bring it back to their fucking countries, bro. Like, come on. Like, these countries have their own national museums and shit, too. You don't think they want to show, like, their shit that is theirs, that, like, it's, like, come on. I know Egypt has actually like sued the British government, to at least return a bunch of their shit because they're like, yeah, we have a national museum, and and we are wanting our shit so we can actually like show, our stuff. So it's like, yeah, because it's theirs, and they recognize and they even petition. It's like we know exactly what the shit you got, and it needs to be in tandem with what we have, still preserved here. Like fuck you, like bring it back. And they won. So the British had to return them. So I mean, hey, I mean they already kind of ish are a little bit. Are in disrepair. I mean, which ones? Or like I'm just talking on a broad level, my dude. I made an example of Egypt and their national museum, but their national museum is actually really kind of cool. I forgot exact name of the one I'm talking about, but I think it's in their capital city in Cairo. You're cool, dummy. I don't give a fuck what you think if I'm cool or not, bro. Plenty of other people think I am, and plenty of people think I'm neutral about it. Maybe I'm not cool, but I'm not like not cool. They lurk around and chill enough to just kind of see what I'm about. So who gives a fuck? You think you're the first person to ever say something like that to me? Like, the Thunder was always favored the powerful. His raw probably rules until you don't. I mean, yeah. I mean, historically, it's always been in favor of the ones who have the most influential means of power and influence and wealth. Take that off. It's been sweaty and muggy as fuck, so my hair's all fucking bunked out. But whatever. What of it? I got ahead. Shocker. Is that a good shish hat? Yeah, 100%. What's up with Israel? They're a bunch of crazy bloodthirsty savages and fucking insane. That's what's up with them. I think what's Orpheus headquarters is what? Cheers, I'll take a salvia hit for you. Oh my god. It's you again. Cobblad tongue tongue tongue, dude. Holy shit. He's back. Oh damn, dude. Now shit's really about to pop off when he got Cobblad tongue tongue, bro. When he's around, you know shit's about to pop. Oh shit, I need to unclog this bitch. I've always dictate the rules. It's yours to play and follow if you want something. Yeah, force me to. So I have the rules right now. Yeah, I mean, because when it comes to ideology or philosophy, that a culture or society, takes, that has, the main emphasis of like control and power and having a sense of very rigid, strict, hierarchical, like cast of, who's like above or in, between or, even a lesser casts and shit. Whether it's like, on wealth or based off just who they are or whatever the fuck, plenty of cultures throughout all of the the world have always had like these emphasis and implications in some way. And fundamentally it's always about like a couple people on the higher up making sure that they have some level of being able to have like the power to control what they dictate as preferable and uplifting that, and then keeping whatever they disagree or don't like down. You can't type one, please. If I what? That's not an official YouTube thing. Get the fuck out of here. Your legend feed be recommended you. Oh hell yeah. Was she a rapper stream up or something? I know she was doing it where she can actually like pop in on some shit. Did she happen to like pop in on my shit? Be like, all right, y'all watching this bitch? Get over here. Because I mean, I was kind of in there for a minute. Like when I was coming back over here. Well, actually, like I was like here, but like after I came back because she started, and then I was like, all right, check this out. And then I had a little quick little mini nap, and I was like, oh fuck, I was gonna stream and shit. I was like, here, I need to go grab my brews real quick. She's playing GTA. I know that's like for her first game, I figured she would play something more casual, but I mean, hey, GTA, right on. Root beer, yeah, this is 100% a root beer, bro. Like in year 326, will we have a single race? Will we all be cyberpunk humans, machines, or AI complete takeover? Oh my god, that is a serious, like, deep question. Uh, I mean, I feel like ultimately there's like probably like two ultimate answers to this, and one's kind of like Trekian, like Star Trekky like, and the other is like just dismal fucking doomer. Like, I don't know. I mean, TLDR, but which one you want first, I guess, because ultimately it really is kind of one or the other, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, either at some point, despite, the perseverance of like damn near being destroyed by climate change and other shit, we're able to pull, like, kind of like the Star Trek in, like, world where it's like, before we became like the Federation and all that shit and whatever, right? Like, we literally had to pour ourselves out of like damn near death and poverty and destruction, basically, where like a good chunk of the world's nuked. But then, within like a few hundred years, like now it's like the center of like what Starfleet, the Federation, and everything is about. You know what I mean? Like, there's that, not to that same degree, but like there is like that level of, where it could go. And then there's just like, we don't pull out of it and we just fucking, we're fucked. I don't think humanity would necessarily be extinct, but our current way of life and everything as we know it would fundamentally change, and it would definitely be a utter fucking reboot. And I think it would take like another few thousand years or longer, for us to even figure out our shit again. That's if we're able to, like, learn from those mistakes and not basically just revert back to our fucking conditioning and shit, with being fucking nuts or whatever. And then there's I guess there's the third option of the AI thing. But like, if our system does like fail to the point where like even most of the electronical grid and everything, which AI does kind of rely on and shit, gets destroyed, I mean, it's like, or at least isn't functional, then I don't know. There's that too, where like maybe it wouldn't necessarily be a big worry, but maybe AI would advance enough to the point where they would have like, I guess not necessarily a Skynet level, but a possibility of where they take over. And I guess that in itself has two different options, where it's like it does take the Skynet route, or it takes the empathetic perspective, like we need humans for us as, a AI and as a entity ourselves to survive, and they need us to survive. So we are going to program, and take over, humanity forcibly, basically, as a benevolency to like having mutually resource based economy and system to where, we maximize, the prosperity of what's going on. Basically kind of revert back to the initial point of like, do we die out or do we fucking prosper shit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, it could really go one or the other in a way. Or yeah, use like batteries in the Matrix, or we just have the technocrats just like, you know, use this as like some sort of like fucking energy source while we're just in like VR fucking paradise utopias or whatever the fuck. Basically in a simulation. Sounds like a movie fix themselves, humans will never be as dangerous life. Well, that's why, it's kind of a little interesting, to think about. You are a hardcore capitalist, I could tell. I'm a hardcore anti-capitalist, you dip. Fuck capitalism, dude. What? What? No. What? Okay. Oh my god. What? No. Skibbity. I gotta have to find the comments, or at least, staying relevant to the conversation. Most of the dangerous thing for the humor is stupidity and lack of common sense, and a lack of just basic, empathy, arguably too. So you're a communist? I suppose if that's what you want to call me, I want to call myself that. Prove don't like capitalism. I think the inherent belief that having, things like for profit, metrics as the main force of like, when it comes to any form of industry, including things like healthcare, education, and, basic, resource necessities, including things like water and food, I think are an inherent, negative thing. not just ethically but economically, like having for-profit healthcare, for-profit educational systems, and like think about this. Would you want like a privatized fucking fire department and police department? Where it's like, oh, you got to pay a subscription to this police department, or else you're just gonna shit out a lot. Like you think that's a good idea? Like unfettered ultimate capitalism where you don't where everything is ran by that idea is inherently a destructive thing, and we're seeing the death of capitalism in front of our face arguably because it's coming down to its like ultimate conclusion, especially on a planet that has finite resources. Capitalism requires infinite growth, and we're not in a world where we have infinite resources. It's not a fucking video game when it comes to just like doing cheat code and just like, oh, I don't have enough resources, cheat coded. Now mysteriously I got a lot more. Rocket science, anthropology, genesis, politician, do tell. Like that's supposed to fucking dictate anything? Who gives a fuck? Wow, you fucking nailed me, bro. Got him. Capitalist system or system communist societies. What, like unfettered capitalist societies? Because they're not. If that's the case, then how come Vietnam has actually been like in pretty growing economic power too? Like Vietnam, especially, and people don't really talk about as much, but they've been like generally growing as like a pretty major economic power in the Indo-Chinese region, and and that is despite the fact that they were like having a long-term war for 19 years with the United States and shit. That's capitalism in China. What, like state ran capitalism? Like where it's mostly in part ran by the state, where the state has at least a strong voice and arm over what is influenced on that. Because if out of all the quote unquote communist countries that exist, they're kind of the closest one to it. And even then, yeah, there's no real true communist state. You kind of actually got it right, Pooty, because yeah, there is no real true communist state that exists, by the way. The closest that was like the first few like years of like, and even then that wasn't the case. They fell for the same fucking issues, where they became pretty much like an oligarchical state-ran operation of capitalism, on venture of like socialistic venture, and that wasn't the case. With the idea of being like, well, we're very proletariat, when it comes to revolution, and actually truly, putting the idea of expanding to it. Never works. Not necessarily true. We're just talking about it for a historical thing. And also, I'm not even inherently a communist. I could just recognize, elements about what it is, that can't work. But also, I think we should probably have a new idea anyway. I even call myself a syndicalist, but even then, I still think, we need to have a whole totally new idea. Like, being like commie, this and that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why aren't we doing something new? What's a new idea that we could probably, pitch here? And we can adapt and adopt, some different, forms of other ideologies. Just be an anarchist. Shocker. I am. I am an anarchist. And not just your little typical ooh woo anarcho kitty. Like, I actually understand the philosophy of it. Like, I mean, on a philosophical level, I do think, we need to, yeah, kind of have a little bit of a reset and have a ground up, but also minimize this hierarchical standard that we have, especially in this modern sense, because, shocker, we probably need to start, on a global level, especially, work together more so and actually understand, like, the common goals that we all should, agree to. Like, it's not, an anarchist isn't just someone who wants to just, like, throw the fucking Molotov at everything. I mean, not like I wouldn't inherently disagree with it, but it's just like, it's a lot more than that. Fundamentally, a lot more so, at least when it comes to the philosophy of it. Still changing, wow. You're a very profoundly, thought provoking individual, aren't you? American front. Nope. Explain the philosophy, please. I don't know. I mean, the general basis, at least in my principle of philosophy, of the philosophy of it, because I'm more of a anarcho-syndicalist, like a anarchist that believes in the power of labor and using the collective voice of the workers as a means of you know pushing this kind of idea that I think of, which it comes to minimalizing the hierarchical class of not just the bosses, but the shareholder and these stockholders, and when it comes to the broader Epstein class and the current concurrency of what's happening, when it comes to the people that want to essentially have like, oh, laws for me but not for thee, speech for me but not for thee. It's like you don't get that type of shit because we have our own rules because we have the fuck you money for it. You're just peasants to you. Like to us, you're nothing but expendable. Even the ones that support their asses. Bolshevik Revolution. No, it's not exactly what I'm talking about. U.S. or Israel first? Well, between those two, the U.S. I care about trying to make our fucking country change to be for the better, and that also includes fucking Israel off. And arguably, actually, unironically, having the rare time where regime change would be a good, use of America's military. So, does that answer your question? You BLM. I guess, sure. I mean, I don't know what does that have to do with what we're ultimately talking about here? Was a view of Karl Marx? I think ultimately his broader criticism of capitalism and understanding the need of like the need when it comes to a collective power of the workers and their voice, like he's definitely correct, but ultimately he I still have a lot that I don't necessarily agree with him on. But I mean, I don't think at this point we should be looking past to like people like that outside of just taking that and reflecting on the modern lens of what's going on. Like beyond that, it's like, I mean, what's the point of like cherishing him like there's some sort of like profit or whatever? It's like, or like because a lot of lefties and people like will always like read some Marx, bro, read theory, bro. It's like honestly, who really gives a fuck about the theory? Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad idea or not a bad thing to learn and know about, or whatever. That's not, it's all good, but that's not important. Arguably, there's other literature and other things out there that exist that is arguably more important. Like even something, like even reading like a People's History by Howard Zinn, like that would arguably be a better read than anything from Marx right now. Bruh, bruh, bruh. Just shut the fuck up. Get out of here. Just spamming bruh endlessly like a fucking weird little like bot. The anti-Semitic card is expired for them. Well, with Israel, yeah. I mean, considering that Zionists also perpetuate, anti-Semitism by literally lumping every fucking Jewish person in the idea that, like, oh no, they're a part of it too. That we're all, in on this to make sure that we get this goal. They do the same shit. And it's like, oh yeah, that's totally, like not a, anti-Semitic thing at all. No, no, no. Even though there's plenty of Jewish people out there that are anti-Zionists, even historically. Word salad. Got anything else to refute it with, or you just got random like bullshit statements that because you just don't want to actually like refute what I'm talking about, or at least even acknowledge anything I'm talking about. If you want to finish your capitalism, absolutely helps, but if you want to call it injustice, college triumphs. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say kindness in itself, but I mean, if we're gonna just kind of lump it into be, like capitalism versus communism, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess it would be from the more preferable C. Stereo occupation is to five you credibility. Wow, you gotta really work on your like grammar in English, bro. Jesus Christ. And I love these random ass assumptions that just are not fucking true whatsoever. But that's so cute and adorable. Whatever. It's funny. I literally have like pretty much most of my life occupied by all sorts of various different things that are going on. But, okay then. Especially with work. Especially when I have to close at midnight and then, sometimes, it takes a decent long ass fucking time to get out of that bitch. So sometimes, end up getting out late. Have late night, chill and do stuff in the evening and then wake up, have a couple hours before work, to repeat the damn process. Yeah, shocker. People have various different schedules, various different things, and also have various different philosophies, and ones that might just scratch your itch, in a way that you don't like. But wow, deliver pizza? Nope. It's just a way for government to have control over everything you do. What, like the Trump administration trying to control, like over like their authoritarianism, what they're doing right now, like with ICE, and then also trying to like with whole like mail-in ballots to these different fucking states unless they turn over their voting records and voting rolls and shit. Basically implying that fucking people's ballots would be forfeited. Like you want to go there, buddy? For utterly blatantly unfettered capitalistic cartel fucking nation right now, just letting the technocrats, these AI data centers and all this other shit, fucking run amok and like destroy our water supplies, fucking destroy a lot of our environments. And shocker, the price of everything is going up and up and up, and yet our wages aren't increasing or anything to account for that. And but that's just communism, though. Tell me, what's Americans' economic system again? One of the few countries that has privatized healthcare for a modern fucking nation. It has some of the worst healthcare outcomes too because of it. I have that use of some day. Think you got cussing at night. You really think you got it nailed down, do you? It's adorable. If I had like a way to dual stream right now or some shit with your ass, I'd be like, I'd say like get the fuck on, but I don't have it set up, so trust me, I do. Sure you do, bro. I got you. Oh, you totally got me nailed down, bro. You pinned me down to a T, dog. 100%. If we could achieve nuclear fusion in every major. Hey, I mean that's what I agree with. I'm not really fond of fission, but if we can, really commercialize nuclear fusion and as like substitutes and backups have like solar and other like geothermal and hydro based energy sources as well, dude. Like this whole fucking bullshit of oil and gas and everything would become like a non issue. So it's like, I mean, we need to like truly achieve this type of technology, especially when it comes to nuclear fusion, to be able to like really get out of this fucking energy and climate quagmire that we're in right now. Because at this point we're already kind of beyond the fulcrum. Now we just have to mitigate the issues, and I think that would definitely be a start. Yeah, Trekker, if you want to talk shit to me. Oh, that's cute. You know what? Maybe I'll have a day one of these days where I'll like stringcast and I'll be like, all right, there's a link in the description. You want to fucking pop in? Let's do it. All right. Maybe I'll set it up. What do you do? Do tell me. What, for work or for other shit? Or just in general? Because I work for chicken. Whip up a bunch of that epic shit. And also, hobby wise, I make music and write and all that other shit. And during the summers, I like to kayak, go to shows, hike, going to bike rides and shit, because, there's a lot of those that happen throughout the summer. What kind? Mostly folk stuff for now, but eventually want to get into like, things like punk and other stuff, because that's what I'm kind of into. Black metal, I assume. I mean, why not? I wouldn't mind, playing some black metal. I even have like a whole concept album that I have, that I'd like to do one day. Not in black metal, but a metal album nonetheless. Of course, punk. Well, duh, I have a DOI shirt on. Yeah, I mean, of course I'm gonna have like some punk, being my, pretty big influence. Never seen a Berkeley student studying punk. Well, I'm not a student of Berkeley. I'm from Portland, bro. Like, I mean, I'm kind of in one of the places where like punk is kind of a big thing, especially ska. Like, ska's been kind of been a little bit of an up and coming thing around here for a bit. It's talentless band work, not really, but all right. It's a lot of like local and underground shit, but there's a lot of work the outside of the music itself that goes into making that shit work. But yes, it is. All right, I guess you just know way more than me, I suppose. Even though I've literally been in the scene and I've actually have even been friends with different people that are in punk bands and ska bands. Been to their house before, smoked weed with them, and actually talk about like some of their shit that goes into like the whole business of music on top of just playing the music. But all right, I guess you just know more than me though, bro. Capitalize, right? Well, yeah, it's called being an artist. Yeah, you want to capitalize on expanding in the community and music and people wanting to listen to music. Like, duh. What's your message, hardcore baby? Well, good for you, there, sweetheart. Wait, now you're flirting with me? If you're gonna start doing that, you need to buy me a drink first, there, princess. Ego battle, ooh. Not that much of ego battle. Truth hurts. Not really, no. Exactly like I said with confidence sound. Punk is sounds bullshit. Because I guess you just totally know more than me, bro. But all right, cool. I do. Cool. I'm sure you do. Your confusion is the ultimate fuel. Uses water as a source, which has abundance. Produce no waste and energy. It would be so damn cheap. And also, if there's like a quote unquote meltdown that happens when it comes to like something that goes wrong, it's fusion of atoms and stuff, like hence fusion. Like if there's something that goes wrong, that just stops, and then they just are just there. So yeah, fusion's like actually exceptionally way more safe than fission. So that's why it would be an amazing energy and the ultimate fuel. You bet 5K on it. Wow. That's why I know you're full of shit, because you're willing to try to drop that. Because, I wouldn't mind doing that, but I know you don't got that in your pocket, so I won't even do it. I wouldn't even bother because I know you don't got 5K. It would be the most easiest 5K in my fucking life, but I mean, I know you don't got that shit, so it wouldn't even be worth it. Lee Harvey Weinstein. True. Back so. I'm going to take a piss real quick, though. But you know what? If anyone wants to donate to the cause, I may potentially doing a bet on this little big ass. Do have a cash app down below if anyone wants to spread a little love to the husk. Wow. DraftKings from the Knicks game the other night tells another story. What's that have to fucking do with anything? Thanos finished him away. No. I'm still here. I'm wondering what this dude what's the Knicks have to do with anything? I have a lot more than that. Oh, what? Because you're on Polymarket betting on the Knicks game? Hey, I like the Knicks too. Wow, do we actually find something in common? Nah. Aww. What is there? What, you built up that much of a wall? You built up that much of a wall on me? Aww. I actually do work. Yeah, so do I. Your point? Stone Odor, where'd he go? I don't know. Do we have another stoned though? The Stony Lonesome. You know my YouTube is exactly my business channel, right? Rept Alien. I only see the at, of your YouTube, like not the actual like little nickname of what your business might actually be called. What, so you own a business? You have all the answers with zero credibility. Yeah, maybe to you because you just don't take anything, that I say for whatever it is, I guess. They're just like, nah, I'm just gonna assume everything about you and that's it. There's plenty of people out here that have even known me or even, that have actually like, like gotten a chance to like kind of read up. And also other people in the background that will certainly confirm shit too, because I don't just do these just by myself either sometimes. So I mean, I don't know, bro. Zero credibility though, huh? And also, if you work so much, then why are you staying up so late when you probably got to go to work tomorrow, huh? Seems a little interesting. I'm not kidding me right now. I'm vials of adventure. His supply Mexico brought home. What the fuck, Stony? You just unleash the most wildest shit sometimes. I was in Mexico for a few weeks for a Summer Rock and Doom Metal Festival. Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, that sounds awesome, but you're musking it up, going Elon with the ketamines. Gotta shut him down. That's why I'm up late. Aww. It's so cute. You still, you won't spell WHY. That's why I'm late. Come on now. Why you staying up all late? Because that's my schedule when it comes to how I work. You dip. I have to close up bullshit. So shocker. After midnight is usually like sometimes there's one night where I had to like I didn't get out until like fucking 2. Like there are some nights where depending on what happens, like like you're kind of stuck there and shit out of luck. And you have to stay there until everyone is done. So you can't just like leave once they're done. You have to wait until everyone's done. So even if I'm done and I could leave like way earlier than everyone else, it's just like nope, kind of SOL. I have like a slight excuse where it's like, all right, everyone is done outside of like, make sure everything's closed up and setting the alarm and shit. Like I can kind of squeeze out like, hey, I got like 5 minutes till the bus. Cool if I dip. So there you go. It's just that's how shit happens. And it sucks, but that's what it is. That's what software you use, Ableton, Pro Tools. What for music? I mean, eventually Ableton. Right now, it's just called a guitar and a voice and other shit. I have Kowloon drum. I have a bass. Got a trumpet that I need to clean and get re-oiled and greased up and shit. There was a guy at the festival had a quart of a liquid acid dropped in random people's mouths for free. It's like British liquid Jesus giving communion to the Mexican people. Oh my god! I wish I could have been there for that. What the fuck? Nice. Hey, one of these days, Stone, and we gotta like meet up at one of these festivals and just have like a wild time, bro. Because that shit's gonna be wild, intense. Used to work every year. Stone Dusty Fest and Joshua G. Cali. I know Joshua G. does her shutdown after pandemic. I loved it. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of shit that goes on over there is just kind of a bunch of bunk bullshit nowadays. Where it's just like a bunch of like rich yuppie fucks that are just there. And then you got people that are just scamming those same rich yuppie fucks and having like the most shittiest experiences in the world for them. And it's just like, that is weirdly low base, but also just like, oof. Just ain't the same what it used to anymore. Couldn't afford it. Yeah, I love Cali too, but I mean, I wouldn't want to live there either personally. Don't mind it though. I do mind some of the drivers though. Every so often they move up here and those drivers are kind of shit. I'm just like, do you not know that this is more a pedestrian friendly area, you dipshits? You don't own the whole damn road. I was living in Coachella Valley area, much cheaper than Los Angeles or Orange County. Still too expensive coming like Orange County. Yeah. Well, this economy is just getting unfortunately worse and worse at this point when it comes to this type of shit. But I mean, it's what I mean. Like that's just kind of like how it is all over the place. I mean, you just in certain spots, unless you want to live in chuckle fuck nowhere, practically. I mean, I guess like or a small town somewhere that might be kind of near, one of these big areas, and then you have a car basically, and then the rest is its own expense. It's like you are a little like kind of SOL, unless you can figure out some extra SOL or just like no, like spot that is going to make a good income and you're just there, and then or just working like two or three jobs. Ooh, ooh, that felt fucking good. Ooh. Snack like a pop rice crispy treat. Ooh, snapping all sorts of beautiful things in my wrist and shit. Ooh, that feels good. Hey, big old boy. Oh, booty screech. He's just like, oh shit, booty screech. He doesn't even know what to do with it. He's like, oh damn, booty screech. Oh, stretch, stretch, boy. Oh, you just stretching out that big old leg. Oh my goodness, big old boy. Big old Vita boy. What's the shirt say? DRI. It's a punk band. All right, boy, you're getting a brush. You're shedding galore. Oh my god, you've got all this sheddiness. Oh my god, there's so much, bro. Jesus. MDC forever. Have you actually met them? I've seen them. I've seen MDC live like three different times. Oh, no, actually, there was one time where we saw both of us saw him live. But I've seen him like three other times since, and I've actually gotten a chance to talk with some of the band and shit, hang out with them and everything. Like, also the main singer is also like a hardcore like pacifist vegan type. Like, if you actually talk to him, he's literally like the most sweetest dude ever. Where he's like, he literally is doing it like. I'm spreading nothing but love and and everything and all that like he's literally like the most like genuine like giving love out to people as much as possible kind of guy, and it's just like he's the most awesomest dude ever, dude. I mean, I like the guy. Many guys from Judas Priest, nice. DRI always. Copain los dos. Does it have to be a back and forth? Like, I mean, MDC and DRI. Why not both? Copa de los dos. Copa de los dos, no? Ay, cabronas. Place I used to go to, Duffy's. It's still there. I just it's hard to navigate over there too, for one, and also they still do their karaoke's and shit. I just haven't been there in a fat long time. I know the KJs are still there doing their thing. A couple of the bartenders have changed up a little bit, but ultimately it's still, same old spot. I've been there, once or twice, in the last couple months, but I've only been there once for karaoke and not for that long. And then there was one other time I was there when they weren't doing karaoke, but we're about to start up like a trivia night. But I wasn't there for trivia though. I was just hanging out with somebody. Who was it? I forgot who it was, but it was like a mutual friend that I used to know at Duffy's, and they recognized me. He's like, "Hey, what you doing, bro?" And I was like, because I was actually at the time, I was applying for a job for the arcade/movie theater that was like kind of like a block down the road, and they happened to see me walking by, and it's like, "Hey, you want to come by for a drink?" And I was like, "Well, I'm doing some business real quick, but yeah, I'm just swing by and for a beer real quick. I'm away, but give me like 10 minutes or something." And then I came back and we talked for like you know 30 minutes or whatever. Sharing a drink together. Bought me a drink, just being like, "All right, you hustling, doing your thing, blah blah blah." Like this is like 3 months ago, probably. And then after that, it's like, well, need to catch a bus. I got a couple other things I need to do. So, but hey, it's cool talking. Dipped out and all that shit. But I just forgot who the fuck it was though. There's like, oh, you know what? It might have been this dude that I used to actually as a customer serve at work occasionally because used to go by my work all the time. This is actually how I first knew him. Oh, what was his name? Oh, now I know who it is, but now I'm just like, oh shit, what was his name now? Oh, shit. Definitely been a fucking minute though. I haven't been to a shop up. Well, it definitely hasn't been years for me and my friends. So maybe we should swing over there one of those nights. That's what I was thinking of. Oh, the wish shop up. Oh yeah, I still go there. In fact, I got a couple of friends that I like to hang out with over there too. Senor Tomat is in Spaniard. He's Frenchman. Senor Leanes de Provence. Oh shit! You trying to make some claims about Senor Tomat? Dios mío, mío, hermano. What are you, a wise ass punk? Actually, yeah, I am. You got a problem with that? Is that an issue? I'll sick this dog on you. I'll stick Jazzy on you. She has such a tiny little face. Look at that little thing. Look at this tiny little head. All this chunk, tiny little neck, but all this floof, but just look at all that. Look, I could just He's so tiny. He's just a small thing. He's just a tiny thing with all chunk. So muscle chunk, but still chunk. Big old chunk. Oh, you stretch, stretch, chunk, chunk. Is that homeless shelter? Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. So it's was between sophomore and junior high school, I think. Let's harass that poor dog. No, Jessie, fine. She's okay. If anything, Vito would be the one who's harassed because he has the biggest protest of everything of them all. Because he's just that much of a nut. Just Carmelo Anthony will protest tomorrow. That's cool. I suppose. Like, I mean, I've actually kind of delved in more about that case earlier today a little bit. And like everything about it is kind of fucked, but at the same time I'm kind of like, well, know the details now. I'm kind of like I feel like a 10-year manslaughter charge would honestly be kind of all right. I mean, but considering everything about the case, it's like, and everything about the process of like the judicial process of the court and everything, it's like it kind of needs to be retrialed. Regardless, I mean, what how the results are just still really fucked because I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it should be overtly like not guilty, but he should also at least like have some sort of like like a little time, but not a lot. I mean, it's like, I mean, he was immensely remorseful, and plus, like, his defense attorney basically literally has like his only like defense witness is his mom. Like, what? You can't like get other people out there on on that shit. It's like you're not exact. Like, it was kind of a fucked situation from the get go. And yes, they have private prisons there. So you can only imagine, some of the shit that he's probably gonna go through, dude. It's not. It's not. It's just not good. I don't necessarily think it's the end of his story. By the way, I do kind of, in a way, think that he might be able to get some level of justice, and arguably, I think at this case, I'm thinking of like at this case, he might be able to just like get scot free. Like in my opinion, where I think he will be able to at least like considering the punch he went through now, like let's say in like 2028 or some shit, or maybe even later, who knows? Like it would, I do think that it would probably be enough an excuse to maybe like his sentence or like just pardon him at that point. I don't know, but that depends. I guess we'll have to see what happens with it. Metro and tram rail, right? Yeah, we got light rail, and we also have like the quote Portland streetcar and buses and all that. So get out in 15 years, maybe, maybe sooner than that. I don't know. I mean, I've only just kind of been taking cursory glances more at a time the last few days about the case, and the more I learn, I'm like, okay, I don't think he necessarily should be like overtly not guilty, but it's not the severity of the punishment. It does not fit the crime. Period. Especially considering his remorsefulness, even immediately after it. Like he said, yeah, this I did stab this person. Here he is, blah blah. Like he was immediately like right after, and even though the witness will it testified said, yeah, after it happened, he was immediately like, yo, get help. This guy did get stabbed and shit. Like he was actually being like, oh shit, it wasn't, because I ain't trying to kill him. but I'm defending myself. But at the same time, he was kind of being a hothead too. It's like, I mean, from what I understand from the case, it's like they ain't no, and from what I also understand, the victim too, who died, the like gym coach eventually, kind of let him take charge because he left, to go sleep basically, and says like, all right, you're in charge now, basically. So he's like, well, I'm in charge now, and you're still not leaving. Well, he started shoving him now at that point because he wasn't trying to start a fight with him. But like, there was even text messages, I think, to confirm it, saying like, all right, well, you're in charge. I mean, if he's still not leaving, try to deal with it, which arguably maybe just getting like non-emergency line of a cop to be like, yo dude, we got a guy that just ain't leaving and is just being a hot mouth. I don't think we need to have like an emergency, but he needs to leave though, and kind of shit like that would have been better, like if he dealt with it in that way. Not victim blaming, but I'm just saying, like, there's, I could kind of tell there could have been a scenario where it could have been better about it. But either way, it's like he was like, well, you know what? Fuck this guy because he keeps, fucking getting on my ass anyway. And he shoved him, and one thing led another, and he got stabbed, and it ultimately killed him. It's fucked, and that's not something that should have happened. And I don't think it was the intent of Carmelo to do that anyway. Like I think he was just trying to be like, hey, you're now on the ground, and hopefully just being like, you live from it. But that just wasn't what it happened. And yeah, now you have two lives ruined and two different families that are now ruined because of that shit. It's a good kid. I mean, like I said, I mean, I do think, especially considering the case as it is, his story ain't over. And I think give it some time, I think he will probably at least get the proper justice he, deserves. I just, I mean, as I learn more about it in the last couple days, and shit, like, I've been reminded of it too. And it's like one of those things where, I mean, I get the context of everything a little bit more now, but it doesn't justify the result of like how he's been convicted and everything. It just doesn't. Ran into the knife and committed suicide. Okay, that's fucking wild, bro. That is the most wildest take I've ever heard out of anything about that when it comes to this case. Like, what the fuck? That is wild, bro. Thinking Rain War is actually over. Nope. Mr. Mocha near the Henson think he's gay. Hey, the the egg of the rut will hit him, bro. He'll eventually have no choice. It will happen. Also, joking, repeating what black people are saying on X. Is it just specifically black people though? If it's on X, I mean, there's a strong chance that it's probably a bot anyway. X is full of fucking bots and weird motherfuckers and troll accounts and shit, bro. Like I would never trust really much on X anymore. No one else is defending him. I mean, I kind of am just on the process of how, his case has been dealt with. I mean, I don't necessarily, and I also am in a way because I don't necessarily think his intent was to kill the kid, but at the same time, it doesn't justify what happened regardless, considering what I do know from the details from what I've learned, so I don't know. Like, for me, I think it should have been treated like a manslaughter case, and everything, because especially knowing that he has been remorseful since, the incident. So I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily think it was inherently an intent. If it was, he wouldn't have went for his neck or some shit, right? Or like, like it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, if it really was an intent to kill, like he would have aimed for that, but that wasn't the case. Doesn't excuse anything though. Arguably, I think it's just a lose lose situation regardless. It just shouldn't have been, the jury of like the hand of the law. It shouldn't have just been handled the way it was though. Mental health care, not prison. I mean, not. Yeah, a little bit, I suppose, but like more like a little bit of not like both, but at least a sense of like mental health treatment, but also at least a sense of like some service back to the community, at least probation, maybe even house arrest for a time, but at least serve a little time, I suppose. Like at least like 5, 10 years, like for a manslaughter case, because that's what I think it should be treated as. It should be treated as a manslaughter case because I mean, knowing from what I do know, that's what it seems like it is to me. There was no intent to kill; it was an intent to self defend, and it ended up being a death. And the way the case went, treated like a full on murder charge, when I don't think it should have been. Considering what I do know details, and most people, including the community itself, recognize that they don't, think he's innocent, but they do think that how the case has been treated has been way too heavy-handed on one way versus the other. There's no real true balance of justice have been dealt with when it comes to this case, and ultimately that's the problem to me. Oh well, locked up. Well, yeah, I mean, at least for time. But at the same time, it's also like, is there like a specific level of context, when it comes to that? I mean, in a weird way, like it's hate to say, but it's like, if, like, because let's say, like, my brother, hypothetically, my brother isn't like this, but let's say, like, for a fact your brother's a hothead, does start shit, is known to be a troublemaker and shit, right? Like, let's say that you have a brother that is like that. And then you hear, that someone, like overtly murdered him when maybe it actually generally was self case scenario because you know how your brother is hypothetically and be like, yeah, well, I know he's a hothead. He does start fights. I always try to tell him to, stop that shit. But even his fought with me and blah blah blah. Like, let's say you got a guy like that. I mean, because there are people and people have siblings that are just straight up like that shit. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, to a degree, I'd be like, I can understand why that person self defended themselves. Maybe I can understand that like they should still serve some time because that it's still fucked. But like, I mean, I can kind of get the scenario because my brother's certainly not innocent in that scenario, right? Like in the hypothetical that I'm talking about, right? Because there are plenty of people out there in the world that have siblings and brothers like that. I mean, let's just be honest with it. Especially if they're apologetic about it, I would argue, be like, yeah, maybe the community service and probation and other means would be more preferable because they actually understand and have remorse. They're not just some bloodthirsty fuck. You know what I mean? Like they actually have remorse and understand what the weight of what they've done. Especially if it was never the intent. Like I actually respect that. If anything, I would actually, maybe talk to them personally, even with a beer, arguably, be like, yo, what really was kind of story on your ankle? Like, I want to know. Because I know my brother kind of thing, arguably, in the hypothetical I'm talking about, like, I'd be more likely to maybe reach out to the dude a little bit, especially if I knew for a fact they were genuinely a remorseful person about the scenario. I mean, I don't think it's a possibility. But like I said, it's a very, specific context that I'm talking about, too. Hey, what's up, NBA? Make some more Grubhub. Nice. Right on. I was kind of wondering what was going on. Some more harm bites. Oh, you're gonna do some harm bits for me? Okay. Here, I missed a few different comments here. On trying to just who have got less. Well, he was like it's been known that he was actually genuinely remorseful given the situation. For what happened. It wasn't just like something he overtly was trying to do with malicious intent. So a lot of ifs that didn't happen in this case. Well, sure. Like I said, what I was talking about specifically was a hypothetical. And also, it was just because someone has a question about it. Also, like looking at NBA and being like, bro, how do we have like the space for this shit, bro? I try to condense what you brought the other night, and it's like there's no way to do it. Like, bro, you're bringing too much free shit back home, bro. I think I need to start doing that, but like, and you do it less. Like, it's holy shit, dude. It's getting diabolical, bro. It's getting diabolical, dog. Like, we need to stop using getting free shit back from works and all that, and just start whipping up some like stews and fucking other shit. I don't know. Like, we don't have enough space for all this. YouTube's beta testing a Discord clone. Oh, like that direct message and stuff, dude. I've noticed that, and honestly, I'm kind of down for it because it really is like a throwback to the old YouTube days. If anyone's like an OG, they know that YouTube used to have like personalizing your channel in like every way, and also had direct messaging, as a form of like communication with other channels and other people. Like they had like their early day of DMs back in the day, and now they're bringing it back in their in its own modern flavor. I honestly am down for that, dude. I kind of love that because, dude, maybe for certain channels, I can actually be like, "Hey, yo, what's up?" I can actually directly, maybe for smaller other channels like me, maybe like reach out and be like collaboration work or something. You know what I mean? That would actually be kind of cool. And I already know of a few different channels that I think I could do that with. Especially if like Phoebe or even like Paul's Ego stuff. Like I already know like a few as it is. So it's like, hmm. In a weird way, that generally kind of helps expand that opportunity, especially if you don't know like a Discord community channel or this and that or whatever. To more directly reach out. That's another way to do it. So I'm kind of here for it, honestly. I like it. I think it's cool. Yes. All right. So yeah, you're talking about the same thing I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, now at this point, I'm just hoping that YouTube actually can maybe customize a little bit of your own like channel platform a little bit more besides just that little background banner in the PFP. I've also noticed if you like certain like videos or like YouTube shorts and shit, they'll even have like like a like a little laughter little icon or like a little paw icon or some other shit, depending on like what the content is. And I'm like, what? I could do that. The beverages drinking sounds like a bong. What do you think it is? What's UFCW? United Food Commercial Workers. It's a union that's a branch of the AFL-CIO, which is a American Federation of Labor and a what's the CIO part? It's like Congress of Industrial Organizations, I think. Get my boys some watch time. Yeah, I'm like last time I checked, I was like 650 hours away from the official like public hours watch time. I looked it up. Like my overall watch time is not the same as public hours watch time. And I'm just like, oh, that's why it's a little less than, you know, my actual watch hour time because a lot of my streams, previously were, either unlisted or private. So I'm like, oh, because I don't remember to always make them public after I do them sometimes. So there are a bunch of them that I still need to go back and make them public again. So I think that's probably it. I'm like, oh. So I think weirdly enough, some of it's probably just on me. But I mean, whatever. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest. I mean, like, it is actually updating way more than like once a month like it was before. It actually is updating like every couple days now. So I'm like, okay, so it's actually tracking my shit at this point when it comes to that now. So I'm like, all right, I'm getting closer because when I first noticed it updating more accurately, it went from like 1,000 something hours or like halfway there to about now, like at the time about like 1,000 hours, and now it's about like 650. So it's still tracking and building up. So in time. Do you have a mullet? No. I mean, I got like wearing a little straggly bullshit, but it's not a mullet. That might change, eventually, but as it stands now, that's not the case. Just finished the song. I've been writing guitar for free exam. Fine fish. I'm almost ready to record too. Nice. That's cool shit. I think I eventually like start working on a little bit more of some of the songs I've been wanting to work on a bit. YouTube York's 30% of revenue. I know it does. I'm not treating it like a full time thing. It's side chatter to me. But also that's why the Cash App's down there too. That's more of an immediate way to help out, brother, when it comes to the content and shit. But I mean, hell, like when it comes to YouTube and shit, like, oh my god, that was so southern when I said that. Hell. But I'll hail. But like, that's a little extra money. I literally would just use that to just put it in the pocket and just let it sit. Like, I mean, that's how I would treat it, honestly. Like, I'll just sit on it, and when I invest in like, especially something that would help the channel out, that's what that money will be used for. Like, that's specifically what the YouTube rev would be used for. I also have like emergency rainy day fund shit if I needed to. But beyond that, that's pretty much what it'd be for. Because arguably that'd be kind of the point. Or at least maybe help fund for like different trips and shit too. Because then I could do like vlogs and maybe like food vlog stuff and other shit. Because I kind of have other plans for the channel on top of that. And shit. Not just music or like gaming stuff as well. So I got different ideas I'm thinking about. So in time though, but especially if I get monetized, and I get, even if it's a small amount, a little side chatter, and just set that aside and let it sit for long enough. I mean, that can go into some pretty good stuff that help make things a little better around here. And plus, of like how my current income is, like I can easily eventually invest into this stuff too. Because after getting an e-scooter or like an e-bike or something like that, I'm definitely gonna get a new PC too after that, and that's when we can start doing some more expansive stuff too, including gaming content and other shit as well. So, and maybe like not always, but sometimes even do karaoke here. Where it's like get a little mic set up and I'm in my room where you do a little karaoke that way. I'm like, well, we can do that too. We don't necessarily have to be at the bar to do it. So there's that as well. There's even those plans on top of the plans. People cry about the YouTube, but at the same time, they didn't have this platform, they'd be able to make money off nonsense like this. Yeah, because there's other platforms that also monetize shit like this as well. Because on top of doing this, I can also dual stream, especially with the PC investment on Kick, and I know Kick is a little easier to monetize, over there as well. And I could dual stream, and sometimes they maybe even do Kick exclusive streams over there, where we can look at a little extra shit, or even listen to music videos and other shit. Maybe even watch a movie, do movie commentaries or something. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff we could do, when it comes to Kick. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Yeah, there's actually other platforms. I guess there is TikTok, but fuck that. They wouldn't be fond of this or the stoner antics either. So that's a little bit out of the question. And plus, they don't like vulgarity either, and I'm kind of a vulgar fuck. So there is that too. Why do you have your like your foot like just pressed up on me? Oh my god. You stretch beam. Oh my god. Big old chunk. She's like, embrace me in my belly. Embrace all my belly. She's just in bliss. Oh my god. What about that booty? Whoa. Booty scratch. And she's like, oh shit. She's like, oh shit. Booty scratch. Vito. Knocking over empty cans. Whoa. Crazy ass eye reflection. Actually, we got to highlight that because that crazy eye reflection. We didn't even need that crazy ass eye filter. Which, what is it? It's this one, isn't it? Yeah, the radioactive one. We didn't even need this for it. Just the reflection of his eye, reflecting or refracting the light is eyeball and shit. Jazz, your fucking face. Oh my god. She is in bliss. Oh my god, look at her. You fucking derp. You goober. Are you Scandinavian? Well, I definitely have at least 20% Norwegian. But also got a little bit of the Celt in me too. I quarter Irish. And then the rest of that is literally just Northern European mud. So that could also, be some Danish, Frisian, definitely a lot of it north, west, like Anglo-Saxon kind of European shit. Maybe a smidge of Dutch, like I said with like the Frisian stuff. Like I'm kind of just a mud. So a lot of it's Scandinavian, or at least adjacent to it. Germanic for sure. So her Jazzy's fucking face is so ridiculous. She's literally going. She's just in bliss. Straight ass bliss, bro. You look very Viking like. Well, my dad is the one that has a little bit more of like the Germanic kind of muttness, while my mom is more of the Anglo-Saxon Irish muttness. So I get a lot of my dad's genes, when it comes to the phenotypes. So that definitely probably explains it. Oh, that felt fucking amazing. Holy shit. Oh, I don't even know anyone heard that, but I heard that. That literally, ooh, sound fucking beautiful. Oof. Oh, I almost popped that fuck. Oof. Oh, there we go. Oof. Okay, now it's just this shoulder that doesn't want to quite pop yet. Yeah, this one doesn't want to quite pop. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, I heard that. Oh, that was good. There we go. I got it. Oh, that felt good. Here, one more little. It's a twist. A little shoulder blade action. Oh, wow. Ooh. Shit, I gotta have a shot after that. God damn. That felt good. That felt pretty goddamn good. Belgian, Italian, Greek, Dutch, English, Scottish, Irish, French, German, tiny bit of Portuguese and Mohawk. Oh, you got a little garnish of indigenous with the Mohawk. Nice. That's pretty cool. You're more of a mutt than I am. Because honestly, for a long time, I generally thought that there was a little bit of indigenous in me, but after I did an ancestry test and also just from what I could tell from my records anyway, there's just none of that. There really isn't any there. You know, outside of my sister, because her mom, it's not my mom, yeah, but we have the same dad, but she does because her mom is, you know, so some of my family does, but, you know, for my sister and her family, but oh my god, my niece though doesn't really show much of that though, but she do got it in her a little bit because I swear to God, she literally looks just like me and my sister. It's just like I'm like, oh my lord, I'm like son of a bitch. Goes like HN's back. Yeah, so there ain't gonna be too much to it. I know. I think my sister's mom had at least like a quarter indigenous. I forget from which tribe, especially in Montana. Probably would be the Crow, like Lakota Sioux or something like that. But I don't know exactly which one it is though. But I know that at least for my sister, or at least for her mom, it's I think at least about a quarter. So for her, it would be about an eighth. So she would actually legit qualify for being, you know, tribal. And she actually for her wedding, when I was there for it, uh, she had a indigenous shaman, you know, come and actually give, you know, indigenous blessing with like the sage and everything. It honestly, like out of all the moments of that wedding, that was one of the few times I was like legit kind of crying, like outright, being like, "This is actually kind of fucking beautiful as fuck." Because there's like a little flute, and then like the boom, 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 you know, like that kind of indigenous little like music going on. I was like, "This is actually fucking like awesome." She had such an unorthodox wedding, you know, that it was legit like the best one I've ever been to, and it was the first official like one that I've been to. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? We're doing a shot real quick. Hold on, I'm being right back for this one because this deserves a little bit of a story with a little extra fun and flair. Sure, logo ain't mine. Deal with it. If we can find a goddamn clean glass, is there not any like are we for cereal? Well, that's just awesome. All right, well I'll figure it out, I guess. I'm gonna use the parsley thing. Fuck it. Fuck it, we ball. That looks perfect splash. Perfecto mango. Okay, now I expect you bitches to at least start donating on a cash app. Now, like, I don't really ever do this. I usually like challenge people to cash out for this one. But anyway, you gotta tell a story about this one because this is a good story. Ooh, okay. Should have brought chaser. All right, that's enough of chaser. Well, all right. So, my fucking sister and her husband straight up rented this little cool like ranch property that had like, you know, couple like big ass buildings. One was like the main like communal area. But then it was right by if I don't think it was the Yellowstone River, but it was like a little like river that went into it, I think. Like if I remember correctly. If not, it might have been the Yellowstone. I don't exactly remember. I'm pretty sure it was like a river that went into it. But so it was like kind of like a little ranch. I had like this cute little mule that was kind of chilling, doing his little thing, just kind of grazing. And it had like this little like pseudo like cowboy town area where it looked like there was a general store and a few other things and shit like that. It was meant to be kind of like, an attraction where people could rent out and this and that, where, people can use for their own things stuff. Like it was known for that, from what I understand. But while like some of the main photo shoots that my mom and her close friend, who was also a photographer, were doing for photo shoots, for other people, like for the for the best men, and for the bridal ladies and shit, etc. My sister was having a whole black dress that wasn't completely done because she didn't get her back pierced yet to get it totally tied in, where she can have the dress tied in, officially. Because she wanted to have some piercings, so where the dress was literally woven and tied behind her back. And I sat there and watched the whole process where it's like, all right, here we go, 1, 2, 3, bump. And she'd be like, ah, fuck, god damn, you could have warned me better than that, bitch. Ah. It's like, well, damn it, you know what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And luckily there was like no bleeding or nothing. Like, it kind of made me open, being like, I kind of want to get a piercing now. Not like that though. My sister a little cray cray about that shit. She's a little let's just say TLDR as a quick non sequitur. I've seen pictures of her literally doing like the hook hanging shit before, like where you get hooks on your back. She's done that. I'm not joking. She's actually done that. I've seen pictures of that. I'm like, damn, sis, you a little cray, but I love it. I can see why I'm a little radical and crazy too. Get it from our pops. But but like, I mean, she eventually got them all done, and had a couple shots, to be like, god damn, this paint kind of does hurt a little bit, but whatever, fuck it, I can walk it off, blah blah. Now let's have fun and get the photos going. And then she and her girls, had their photos done, and then it was about like another hour later when they eventually were going to finally get their official wedding going. And that's when like the whole process was going right by the side of the river. A lot of sage and other cool like incense was blowing and stuff. They had like the shamanistic thing I was talking about from earlier. And then after that, they had the official like priest guy to come in to officialize the wedding and everything. And then after that, my sis picks up this fucking beatbox, slaps it right on her shoulder, smacks that fucking play button, and it's Led Zeppelin, playing, being like, and she's just like dancing and be like, let's party, bitches, and everyone's like, woo, and it was just like a whole fucking thing. And there was beer kegs, there's like a fast cigar, everyone's passed around late night, and eventually her husband, who was also in a band, that's like, because they're all kind of in the local scene in Montana, because this is in Billings, by the way, and like the randomest little fucking town in Montana out of all places. And yeah, he like had a little set with, because most of the best men were his band, and he, outside of a couple other friends, and they had like a whole fucking epic show going on where me, my sister, even my dad at one point, and a few other people in the family were all just like moshing and shit. It was like a little family mutual little mosh thing that was like the most greatest fucking thing I've ever partook in. It was like, dude, what? It was literally probably the most greatest experience, because it was like the most unorthodox wedding I've ever been to. Like, it was very punky, metal, fucking, like really radical and kind of paganistic in, different ways, very indigenous when it came to some of the ritualistic rites that came with that, a little official for what it had to be. And then it was just like music, vibes, and, once the kids are gone, get the drinks, get the cigars. We're all fucking around now. Where's the weed? The kids are gone, and that side of the family is now done. Now it's everybody else. Yeah, I know Billings is one of the largest cities in Montana. Dude, I spent half my life growing up in Montana because that's where at least my dad's side of the family comes from. And I've spent so much like of my life out there. Like, I mean, I even flew like as a co-pilot once as a kid and shot for the first time out there in North Dakota because we had some mutual family that was out there when he had a pilot's license and his own private land and shit. And at the point he put me in the co-pilot seat, and at one point he was like, "You want to do a couple little turns?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And I'm like 7 years old. It's like I still got rudder control, but because I can't reach the rudder pedals, so he still had that control. But I was like, take a left, and I was like gently because I played flight sims too as well. So in a weird way, as a little kid, I was kind of not trying to brag, was kind of weirdly familiar with the controls a little bit. It's like because I mean you're holding the yoke and shit, right? Like it's not that hard. Turn left, gently turn left. Now you're turning left, and now you're banking left. And then you just hold it there. Now you're doing a nice little bank left. Now turn right, and then you gently bank right, and now you're banking right at like a good 45-degree angle, and then you maybe do a slight pull up and slightly adjust left a little bit, to make sure you're not like banking down, hence the rudder control, which he did, with my not uncle, but like a step uncle, because he was the uncle of like my step cousin, my family from my granddad. Yeah, it's a whole long story, but either way, like he was having some controls. I was taking most of it and did a couple banks, and then he's like, "All right, now fly straight." And I would do a slight bank and have it leveled out, and I would do like a kind of a light pull up a little bit just to make sure it wasn't going down and kind of make sure I kept things level. And he was like kind of like, "Wow, you actually did really great. You could probably be a pilot one day." And that literally boosted my ego in the point where I'm like, man, if I had some fucking money, I seriously would have, or even honestly committed to it. I probably would have been a fucking pilot. I really would love to do that. Like I still did have an ultralight, but not with. I don't know about like full on aviation shit now as a career. I'm a little older for that now at this point. Might miss the mark at that, but I can still do at least a little personal aviation stuff or something. It's a very fine line between a wedding and funeral. Some argue they're one and the same. They're, I mean, definitely not, especially for the weddings I've been to. Arguably, they're just a new chapter of another one's life. Love native music. The drums really represents the Earth's heartbeat. I'm sure it might be different between different bands, but it's generally the case in Canada at least. No, I agree with you. I mean, I honestly do truly believe that, like, you know, when it comes to indigenous music, in various different forms, I truly like, whether it's like, kind of punky like 1876 or something like that's true, like, when it comes to like, some authentic, like, indigenous, like, chant stuff or whatever, regardless of what, specific tribe it may come from. At least for me, because, I'm just kind of generalizing a little bit, but like, either way, for me, I always feel like I have a true, like, wow, there's something kind of real here that's more than just making music or this and that or whatever. It's more about like we're connecting to something more than just like the arts and this and that, as what makes us as people. Or connecting to the soul, the spirit of Earth, Mother Gaia, or whatever you want to call it. And I truly feel that in a lot of ways. I mean, especially when it comes to like where I live here in, Cascadia, like, I mean, I've been born and raised here. I mean, like most of my life, outside of a few other places that surrounded it, for the most part, was here. I mean, and I truly feel a connection here, and I wouldn't want to trade it, for anything else outside of maybe a few things if I had a gun to my head, I guess. But I mean, ultimately, in one way, shape, or form, this place is my home, especially the Willamette Valley. Like, I mean, this is where most of my memories, most of my life, and what I connect to the land is here. I mean, it's not something that I feel like it's one of those things like I can recognize, especially being a big old white motherfucker, right? Like I can understand, like, I'm not of the same, when it comes to the indigenous people that have lived here, but like I respect and love what they attributed because like I want that too. I want to preserve this land. I want to, see this land, be, maximized, and unfortunately, due to colonization and, white folk, in a lot of ways, unfortunately, it's been kind of fucked in some, cases. And we're still doing that. But that doesn't mean that I can't be one of the people to at least, be against that grain and, say, let's be better about it. And if anything, listen to indigenous people and what they have to say about it. They were here well before our asses. They were here, like for thousands, tens of thousands of years. And what? Like we're supposed to just like, ignore them after all this shit? It's like, nah, come on now. One of my neighbors is indigenous right now, and he, is kind of opened my, worldview a little bit about this, because like, I want, especially when it comes to understanding about like different perspectives of even other indigenous tribes and their cultures and their belief systems. It's not just as complex as like they all believe the same shit. Of course, they never do. They're fundamentally, there's all sorts of different, elements about, when it comes to indigenous peoples and their cultures. But it's like I can at least see the broad perspective, and I try to at least, emphasize that because I'm trying, I want to at least, figure that out, like the broad perspective, and then, especially with the people around me, learn the details and learn that story, whatever it might be. I try to be humble about it, at least, for me. I can't speak for anyone else, but at least I try to be humble with it because I mean, I love, the story of the indigenous peoples around here. Like, I want to learn about because they are exceptionally, culturally, especially when it comes to like, any broader philosophy that is still around that like I can look at outside of like environmentalist types. Like the indigenous cultures are like the ones that have the truest real like environmental like protectionistic, philosophy that is exceptional to me, or I really attribute, and really want to adapt, and at least, look towards that shit because it's, a very beautiful thing. They, there's a lot of, regardless of the details of the culture, like most indigenous people will tell you that like the first and foremost priority is, the care of the land because you can't care for yourself or your family or your tribe or other people if you don't care for the land. I mean, it's like, the land and, what you live on, it comes first and foremost. Like the environment and the land that you live on is the main one of the main priorities. And that I love. I mean, it might not necessarily be the same for everybody, especially. That's why the details I love to, learn more about. But I mean, that always seems to be at least, like exceptional, at least, one of the top five things that various different indigenous people have either written about, told me about, and song, and all sorts of other shit. Like the care of the land and, and Mother Gaia or like the earth itself is like one of the main priorities, to, keep your, spirit healthy and keep yourself as a people healthy. Also, oh my god, there's a lot of different comments. Leaf gardens are superior. This is off the hop. Agree with that. All door forts. Oh my god, wow, what a worthless comment to read. Extreme heat in the morning on Sunday. It's cold. Oh, well, thanks for the reminder. I'm going to be sweating balls. Oh, yoy. Oh, yay. Lawns. I call a waste of space. They, I mean, that's why back when I used to have my house, man, I had that lawn basically just literally be like a natural growth place. Like, I didn't make it like some lawn. I made it like, where it was just like a natural environment where it had squirrels, the local wildlife, all be a part of that shit, dude. I have more respect for that versus like the fucking manicured Bermuda lawn bullshit. I much rather, have like some naturalized like garden and other shit where like, the local wildlife actually wants to be there because it helps nurture it too. Like, I mean, hey, maybe you don't want some pests there. And instead of, insecticide and other shit that's toxic to the environment, you got other animals like blue jays, scrub jays, stellar jays, chickadees, different birds, maybe even like possums, other animals, squirrels even, they'll come around and get the shit that you don't necessarily want there that might harm your plants and shit. And bees and other stuff. Like, there's a whole environment that we can literally naturally prosper. And we could do be way much better instead of all, the shit that we're doing. Ugh. I look around sometimes and I'm just like, man, I'm so happy I live in Portland because there's more people than not that, do what I'm kind of, mentioning. But it's like, man, I've looked around, and especially other places in the country, because I've traveled outside of Portland many times, but it's like, man, fuck, dude. Like, it's not the same anywhere else. I mean, Seattle a little bit, other places like the West Coast and other very liberal areas. That's like very the case, but it kind of varies there too. But it's like, man, dude, it's rough sometimes, especially at least like when it comes to knowing that like that is something that needs to be a kind of a priority in my opinion. Like these local gardens, democcultural, farms and gardens, like these are things that help the local ecosystem and help the environment. And we need to do anything in our power, especially on the local level, to mitigate, like these things when it comes to climate collapse and shit. Because these are little like pockets that can help fucking mitigate this shit a little bit. We can always do a little bit of practice in our own way. Why not do a little like gardening or or having gardening or light farming or whatever, like depending on your abilities and shit, or even doing like a couple of like potatoes or fucking tomatoes like on the outside of your apartment window or some shit, tiny little things like that. I mean, it's like it's just those little things where it's like we're at a point where like we gotta kind of start thinking about like how do we are like how would you like helping our own selves and our own local community in the environment around us, not just a little broader politics of it all, like I mean like it's one of those things where we got to like figure out how we're going to help ourselves and people around us and make sure that we're at least doing all right, or at least enough where we can at least help each other out, to some degree, versus like just saying fuck you, I got mine. Like we definitely, not just in one way, changing our philosophy about the shit, but also like regardless of like how the economic circumstances and how things are happening globally, we need to be able to have a position and like some sort of a net to help each other out. We need it more than ever at this point. And shit, I will say it's kind of like one of those rough things where I wish people were a little bit more on that, kind of idea. I mean, it's easier, said than done, or and also kind of easy to say that, with people who are like kind of liberal or even left leaning, because it's like preaching to the choir, I guess. But like, shit, I mean, other people need to kind of get that a little bit, nitpicks and other bullshit and whatever your fucking weird little grievances are aside. Like, there's legit like some bigger ass fucking fish to fry right about now. If anyone in Florida home could pollinator that actually help bees. Yeah, man. Gotta care for about the bees, bro. Dude, I had that stream when I was at the river, and shit, where I wasn't even really like doing much to participate in the stream. I was just showing off the river. Dude, there was like twice where we saved bees, bro. Right at the beginning. And that bee, unfortunately, probably may or may not survive. I have no idea. But I looked back at the rock that I left it at, and it was gone. So I have no idea what happened to it. But then there was another bee that I think just fell into the river, and I was like, "Oh hell no! I'm picking your ass up." And me and Logan were like putting it back in the bush and everything. It was even on me, and I'm like, I don't want to be stung necessarily, so I'm gonna like. And then Logan was like, "No, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I ain't trying to get stung. This bee's agitated. Like I could tell it's kind of like I might sting guy. I'm agitated, and I'm like, oh hell no, I ain't trying to get that bullshit." But bee was all right though. So I was just like, I got it. I picked it back up and I put it in a little safer spot, and it was doing this whole thing, drying off and everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one at least was okay because I was able to pick it up, before it damn near drowned. The other one, I have no idea though. I think it might have been all right though because it was in the sun, drying off, and I think it might eventually flew away, but who knows? But either way, point being though, you gotta save those fucking bees, dude. The bees, help, prosper our fucking entire ecosystem, like legitimately. Literally made a song about this. Well, to be fair, what hasn't Just Wells made this song about? He's always finding a song to write about, and shit, dude. And also, I didn't mention it, but I did notice that you said that he was coming to Portland. What's the date? Like, what's the date that he's coming to Portland? Because I definitely want to see him live. I'd love to meet him, dude. That'd be really cool as fuck. Uh, Even some people's native people in Africa get turned dust green. It's all tech half moons, Africa's gardens. Oh yeah, I know. I kind of know what you're talking about, but don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm crossfaded as fuck, so hey, don't worry about it. Half the time, I'm wondering if I'm honestly, legitimately even making sense, but I'm pretty sure I am though. Write a song about visualies. What are those? I don't even know what the hell those are. August 12th, $122 a ticket. I doubt it. I'm sure it's gonna. I bet if I looked it up, it'd be cheaper than that. There ain't no way, dude. Ain't no way. The beans. I'm gonna look at the fridge real quick. This has literally been here for like a week, but I'm just it's mine now. But I'm also gonna use this for a WAOK moment for them later. Not a few guys though, but a little later. A little wrap up here for tonight. How about that? Y'all had one earlier, but y'all didn't really do poo poo. I'm sure that y'all are having it built up, especially this boy. No, you're so glad that is an empty thing. Your tail's a weapon, bro. You have a fucking baton for a tail. Oh. He's immediately like, what the fuck? Oh, now he's calm. He's getting all the scritches. Dude, his light is reflecting on our light again. His eyes are reflecting on the lights. It had like a cyan color going on to it. And also, this is literally the only way to calm him down. Just give him all the scritches. Especially right here. He loves this. Oh, he's rubbing into it. See, he's calm now. He's good. He just wants the scritches. Oh, good boy. Oh, did it not stimulate you enough? Oh, his little ear got flipped over. Well, He's an old boy. He loves it. He's not that old. He's only 5 years old. In dog years, he's like a middle-aged man, but he ain't that old. He's still a puppy at heart. But like for every year for a human, it's like 7 years for a dog. So it's about 5 years. So that'd be like there ain't no way that you're like if the math's correct, that means you're like damn near in your 40s, ain't it, right? Ain't that old. The way you all are, y'all peak energy and all that shit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Y'all peak in your energy and your muscle and everything. You're not. You're not middle aged at all. Yeah, that's right. Especially how I see y'all some on the river. Especially Jazzy. She was literally like the little river otter dog when we were on that little river stream the other night or the other day, like what a week ago. Oh my god. She was literally just like, I'm spending like half of my time just swimming around like an otter dog. What, you got a little treat or something? Oh, you do. You got something for me. I'm swimming around doing circles around you, just like whoop, whoop, whoop. Just casually swimming around. Dude, Jazzy was the most cutest little fucking thing in the world, just being the most cutest little otter. It was so adorable. Oh, chunk, chunk. You know you is. Wait, whose tail is who? Oh, that's your tail. I was saying tails wag, but I wasn't sure whose is who. Goofy boy. Goofy little chunk girl. You're out of reach. I kind of wiggled your little tail, but that's it. I'm a white woman on Auburn and founder of Global Gym America Corp. I'm here to tell you what you don't have to be stuck with what you got. Cool, buddy. I'm sure I am definitely, missing out on a lot when it comes to that. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I have no idea. Got to picture a little bit more than that. We'll say. A little bit of a hard seller right now. Got to put up a good bargain. Still away from partying last night. Not completely. I mean, I was sleeping. It's a whole new day for me now. Can I kiss you, Eminem? I'm not Eminem. But if you want to, you got to buy me a drink first or donate my Cash App or something like that. You got to, give me a little something, something before you want that. I just don't offer those things out for free. Come on now. I need some sort of a bargain on that one. I give you weed, you give me one son. Well, I don't got a P.O. box, so weed ain't gonna cut it, unfortunately, my friend. And plus, I live in a recreational state. I can literally just get that on my own if you just cash out to me, because I can just use that money to get weed myself. So, how about you just do that instead, and then I can get weed? Boom. There you go. How about them apples, bitch? There you go. How about that? Okay, now okay, now I kind of deserve one after that. Like after that, I'm a come on. Joking. Oh, of course, of course. Oh, hermano, cabrón, la más. Dios mío, Dios mío. Drink a beer and energy drink. Compañeros dos. It's vitamin R. I'm getting my vitamins. Vitamins are, a form that can help, get energy into your system, especially like things like vitamin C, D, R, other stuff like that, B12, omega 3, vitamins. Vitamins are, a good source of energy. So, of course, compañeros dos. I mean, it literally is a vitamin R. See? Wake and bake for the continuous solutions I sell. I'm not wake and bacon. This literally isn't a wake and bake, my G. Shocker, because people have different lifestyles and different work schedules. Usually they're awake at and active at different times of the day and evening and shit. So, and for me, shocker, it's late because of how how my work is. I have to close at midnight. That means I sometimes don't get out until like 1 in the fucking morning. So, shocker. Stay off today, but can make a mukbang video soon. Sure. I mean, why not? How hungry are you? Wow. That's a very assertive question. Maybe you should buy me a drink first before you ask that. Like you would like to know there, buddy. What kind of English rap? Damn. I'm the crossfaded buzz ass motherfucker over here, and I'm not even, getting that type of shit. Like, goddamn. Oof. Oof. Bah! Viboon sound. What kind of mukbang will you consume? Some shit that I will eat after work. Like an amazing, delicious chicken sandwich that has like some spicy Cajun Louisiana rub kind of stuff or some other shit. Like I've done this a few different times. I'll even stream on a fucking lunch break for fuck's sake. And I work tomorrow, so you know what? You want one? I'll do it for you. How about that? I don't know what time I'll have my lunch break tomorrow, but you know what? If I stream that lunch break, if I don't see your ass, mm, I saw one on you, Raph. I'm just saying. I'll do it. Wearing socks. I love socks. Well, duh. I mean, I'm wearing shoes. Like, yeah, socks go with shoes. Like, duh. Mukbang for me. Nah, next stream. How about that? Lunch break stream where I'm eating a little bit of food and I chat for y'all. How about that? I'll do that next time. Special for you, Raph. I saw one on you. I'm only doing it for you. If I don't see you, I'm gonna literally be like calling your ass out next time. Just saying. Chicago is definitely not a dump. And by the way, I don't even live there. I've just been there before, hence my hat. And I love Chicago. So hope to never see you again. Well, here, let me help you out the door, you dumb fucking idiot. Instead of saying shit like that, like it's a fucking airport terminal, you can just fuck off. It's not that hard. And if you're gonna be like that, at least be like one of these other wise guys over here that at least like, to have the back and forth. I at least respect that. Chinese food mukbang. Um, I actually do know of a spot that's not necessarily Chinese, but is Vietnamese. But it's close enough. It's right across the street from my work, so I could do that. It's just a little spendy though. I've looked at the menu; they're not exactly cheap. So if I'm doing that, oh, I'm raising money. I'm literally gonna be like, yo, Cash App, everything, like y'all fucking donating for this bitch. Like, like I'm raising money for if I'm doing that. Like I won't do it tomorrow, but I will raise money for that shit, but just because they're spending. Like they're an actual restaurant. Like there's nothing cheaper than like 15 bucks over there. Like, yeah, no. I'm not just gonna stream that for the fuck of it. Like I'll do a goal. I'll do a stream goal for that, but I'm not gonna fucking just do it on whim. I'll do it for like 30. So I could tip them too. Give them a nice little tip too as well. They tell me about this food called chicken finger. That's just literally another name for a chicken tender. They're just small versions of chicken tenders. That's not exactly a Chinese Americanized food or anything, dude. In fact, arguably that's just more of just a regular Americanized food, bro. A chicken finger is not some Americanized Chinese food. American Chinese food is Chinese food. It comes from the Chinese culture that's largely gone from mainland China. That is true, actually. There is a, even though I guess like that, I suppose is now called Americanized, to this point, it is technically actually from like an origins of a, Chinese culture. But at this point, it's just not like a mainland, cultural thing anymore. But there's still people in China that still kind of, make that kind of food and stuff right now. I mean, it's just not the same thing that if you were to go to like Shenzhen or Beijing or whatever the fuck, you're not going to get the same, food. Like it's going to be a little different for sure. Not saying it's bad though. I mean, it's going to be good shit too. But you make much from YouTube? Well, I'm not monetized yet. Hence why I'm doing these, still just on the virtue of watch hours. I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have wrapped this up a while ago, just on the virtue of just like they need a walk, and I also do kind of want a little food eventually. A little something, something. Feeling a little peckish. But I'm taking advantage of the last little goal I need for my streams and my monetization, which is watch hours. So you're all helping with that. You're going from slave culture. Love America when it synthesizes cultures. That seems like such a duality of man type of fucking thing to say. Chicken wings are slave cultures, but I love it when America synthesizes cultures, bro. Like that's such a it's kind of like such a contradictory statements, dude. But you know what? I can't even disagree. And honestly, I don't even think chicken wings are inherently from that. By the way, I think chicken wings go farther back than that, dude. I mean, the chickens have been a part of like human food and diet, off and on, besides other foods and shit like that for a long time. Where it's like, yeah, like we're gonna have our own variations of chicken wings that go back and all sorts of shit. But the predominant food culture is probably going to be more like lamb, beef, this and that, blah blah blah. But or even like seafood because chickens are probably like harder to like raise and get the food for and see more as a delicacy more so than like an easy food access depending on the part of the world you're from, blah blah blah. But still, like it's one of those things where it's like I'm just saying, like chicken wings have been a thing forever. Like I mean, if a human has looked at a chicken and it was like, I'm eating you, it's had a chicken wing. You know what I'm saying? We ain't giving up chickens. I hope not. Because chickens are fucking amazing, dude. Like, chicken is like a really good hearty protein. It's like really accessible, not that expensive. You know, honestly, especially now more than ever because of how beef and every other protein is pretty much fucked outside of pork, pretty much in a weird way. But like, I mean, it's just one of those proteins that legitimately is good. You know, that is easily accessible, and also if you're willing to afford it, or at least put an investment into, isn't hard to even raise it yourself. Especially if you're willing to go for the extra chutzpah of like defeathering it, killing it, and harvesting it and shit for meat and everything. If you're willing to go for that process, stop cussing. This is my stream. I can cuss all I fucking want. Like, who gives a shit? What are you gonna do? Tell my mama? Oh no, I'm gonna be put in 5 minutes in a corner because I said the fucking swear words, like the fuck word. Oh no. Ah. Whatever, bro. Nobody puts a baby in corner. Well, I actually did it with him. You can still be here if you want. So I haven't timed him out or nothing. I'm just roasting him. Rap, that's a combo of jazz and Jamaican cereal culture. A little bit. But also, rap is known as, in its true origins, is also an acronym. Like, it originally started as like a genre that was called rhythm and poetry, but it was just shortened down to the acronym rap because, RAP or rap is a lot easier to say than just rhythm and poetry music. Like it was just a lot easier to like just actually do poetry with a rhythm, and just call it rap, especially when it comes to different fusion, when it comes to like jazz or like Jamaican style or like fusion of funk and other stuff. Hence, like things like G funk, and shit. Like, I mean, that's rap is like, especially to me, like I have a genuine respect for it because like it has like such a good broad foundation of like fusing itself into so much other genres and being able to like from like rock, rap, fusion of like jazz, rock, fucking like funk, all sorts of other shit, dude. It's like it's one of those things where I actually can generally kind of appreciate it when it comes to that. So I'm not wrong. Yeah, jazz is literally based on rhythm and blues. I mean, yeah. I mean, they all have a foundation that, help build each other from the previous genres and shit. You're absolutely right. But there was even certain elements of jazz, that even were founded on like military drum beats, like dun 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 dun, and then it'll be like in between all that shit, then it added like a little extra like down, some other shit. Like, I mean, it always came into like all sorts of different fusions of other different fucking genres that helped founded to what is today like broader rock, metal, pop, and punk and ska music and shit. Like all these different fucking like bands come from different foundations that if it wasn't for these births of these foundational music genres including jazz, especially back in the day it was called jazz with s's instead of z's. Like it was like without these genres, like we wouldn't be having the music that we see today, including what's playing in the background right now. I'm only rock hard as fuck. Then Wolf told them mofos. Oh, the Who? I've seen them live. They opened for Iron Maiden once in Minneapolis, and I saw them, on the fucking ground level, and shit. And oh my god, that shit was fucking awesome. They are amazing to see live, dude. I didn't know you know so much about music history. Well, I grew up with a lot of music theory and shit, and also especially in high school, my band director for the different music classes I took, he actually, especially in jazz class, for jazz ensemble, sometimes he would take like a good 30 minutes, or even sometimes like a on like a Friday or something like that, or like at the end of the month, you'll make us watch a part of like a Ken Burns jazz documentary and learn about like jazz history, and at the beginning of every class he would also make us listen to a piece of jazz, and then we will talk about it and break it down and say what we like about it, maybe what we don't like, and what we picked out and shit like that, and then guess about like what year that album came from when it came to that music and that artist based on the recording and shit, to kind of hone our ears. And then after that, we'll spend like the rest of the class, playing our jazz and doing all that shit. Like, I mean, oh, I got so many stories about my jazz class that I took, for the 2 years that I did. That, like, I mean, it's just one of those things where I won't get into it tonight, but I'll put a pin on it one of these days. Because like I've had so many fucking awesome experiences and times, and I know for sure I have a notebook somewhere in my old like box of like high school shit where I have like my notebook of all the jazz music and everything, and all my notes and everything, all that shit, from high school. Like I know it's somewhere. If I could find it, especially if all the music that was in there that I can like look up again. Oh my god. I know it's somewhere. Have you ever the folklore of the band with the light that sounds like our ancestors? What? Uh, wait, hold on one more time. The folklore of the band with the white. The one sounds like. Mm, I don't think so. Have you ever played skin flute? Come on, you should know me. Well, maybe you don't, but you know what? Yeah, I do. I play flute and skin flute. We play all the flutes around here. What do you think of Jesus? I wish Christians actually believed and followed what he, would advocate for and shit. But I'm not a Christian myself, so oh well. Too bad, most Christians, actually, believe in what he, fundamentally, advocates for. Because I would probably be a little bit more open to, being chill with Christians if they were able to like get that a little bit. But so many of them would rather follow, the fucking, false prophets, that, Jesus, was warning about. So it's one of those kind of things where it's like to get the hints, I never knew the kind of thing. I know. Cool. Hall and asphalt? Huh? Is that what you're doing? So I drive dump truck and type on here. Oh, that's what you're doing. Well, I mean, hey, I will say, I mean, I'll help you out a little bit because I was gonna do a little second round of the WOK of these beans. So I will say though, I suppose, I mean, it's probably actually a good little rapperoo. Going for a decent amount of time. Had a good little epic, back and forth, all sorts of shit. Yeah, it's probably a good little, opportunity. Set this out, especially some MDC. Not a little bad outro for everything either. Because I know these two for the initial walk earlier, they didn't do the poo poo, so I know they need it, but they're still chill about it. So I'm like, do they really need it? But I guess they still do. They still need to do it regardless. I mean, No matter what, like we all need to do the biz. They're just not really letting us know about it. What do you believe? You you kind of want to elaborate on that, but we're not doing that tonight. We're putting a pin on that. Jimmy Gears burn clutches. Damn right. Sober? Never heard of her. Exactly. But also not exactly. I mean, but you know, satire, Satire, of course. But last little thing I'll read here. Be 524 hours after taxes. Shit. Some good shit right there, I tell you what. But that's good, a little bow, if I've ever seen one. So, with all that being said, we'll do a little piece the fuck out. But we'll see all that next one. So, I hope you all stick around for all that shit. Like, sub, all that fun shenanigans. Share it around. Little cash app love and all that stuff. But too little, too little. So,